should be live again. There we go. What? Rewards enabled on channel. Why does it look like a Discord logo? What is this shit on Twitch now?
Hold on,
What
let's
is
take a
what
look
is this?
here.
Get rewards by
Coming
purchasing or gifting subscriptions to Wolfborg's channel while they are live in any category. Ends October 31st. But it's got a Discord logo. What does this mean?
View details. Let's take a look here.
Buy 1 new sub, get 3 months of Discord Nitro. Apparently that's what that means.
Dang, if only Dangle was saying all those subs just like a couple weeks later.
I mean, I already have Discord Nitro. I'm pretty sure Dango absolutely has Discord Nitro already too.
Alrighty, well, you know, a couple extra months for free ain't too bad. Actually, no one knows. He's probably gonna send another one. Someone else pops in. Who knows?
Let's see here. Let me move this over here and this over here. Make sure we are live on YouTube. It looks like it. Make sure we are live
You're on Twitch.
Twitch, yeah. Good. And then, where's the kicks? Over there. Okay, good. I mean, we get so many fans over there on Kick, you know? So many.
At some point, I'm like, why do you even bother checking? Like, I understand going on there, but why do you check?
There's too many to count, okay? There's too many.
Right.
Welcome. We are live already.
What are we counting?
Too many viewers on Kick, okay? We're blowing up over there. As usual. Duh.
Very well known.
People that can actually talk?
Well, okay. Now that's a bold... Okay. Listen. They don't need to speak, okay? They just need to... The perfect viewer, okay? They don't need to type anything to me, all right? They just got to give me money and views for free, for nothing, okay? That's all they got to do.
Discrimination?
That's the perfect viewer. That's just a fact.
I can't believe you discriminate against the viewers, Ari. I don't believe this.
The perfect Kick chatter, okay? The perfect Kick chatter. Because we don't want to hear what they have to say on Kick, all right? To be honest. We don't want to hear it.
Come on, how bad could it be?
There's a reason they're on Kick and not somewhere else. Usually. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
I mean, how else are you supposed to watch? Who the hell's on Kick again? That's well known.
That's a good question.
Anyway.
Carrying on.
So, I have been told Andy caught up on the reading, and Andy is on their way, but they may be late. This is what we've been told here in the studio. For those of you listening.
For sure going to be late by 10 minutes.
Well, all I know is this is the news that we've been given here in the studio. For those of you watching, that's fine. I also have not heard from Turando. Turando is still MIA. Lost on Rokinjima.
Probably dropped.
It was probably something like they went on vacation at some point for a week or so, because I thought they mentioned something like that, and then they just couldn't get caught up on the reading, maybe? I thought they did get caught up 1 week and then joined us, or was that somebody else?
I think they did.
Either way, that's fine. We understand.
I went ahead and did next week's reading, because I've already read all of it anyway.
I'm so mad with how that ended. I was like, I want to start... Because I finished my reading a couple of days ago, because I wanted to get the reading out of the way with that, so I could focus on the Call of Cthulhu Umineko planning stuff that I'm doing. And I thought that they would give me more insight. Now I'm just like, what do you mean there was not... What do you mean I gotta go to episode 7? What do you mean I gotta wait? And I was like, well, now I can't start that reading until we discuss today. So I'm probably gonna be binging some of their reading tonight to see if I can glean any new information or inspirations towards my thing for tomorrow.
I did not realize how... Because we have to read to, what, chapter 20 for next week? Yeah, chapter 20.
Yeah, so I believe...
Jam-packed.
So I believe for the next episodes, there's like more chapters, but it's supposedly like the same size omnibus. So it's probably just smaller chapters, I'm assuming.
No, it was a lot.
Yeah, because it's fitting 3 volumes into each. It has to be.
It was a
When I look at the let me look at the page.
lot.
I'll look at the page numbers right now, and I'll tell you. The last volume we just read was 630 pages. Let me look at the page count for the first thing of volume 7 or episode 7. 830. So it's like a little bigger, but it's about the same as what we read.
But the next one's gonna be so jam packed.
And then the one after that is 600, and then the one after that is 650.
So it just feels like a lot, even though I've already read it. It's just
And
like,
the one
oh
after
my
that is
gosh.
600.
This is
So
a-
basically, it's only really next week's that's like a lot more pages, like 200-ish more pages. But everything else is like about as big as this week's reading was. It was like 600. Let me see how episode 8 looks. Episode 8. 840 to start.
8. Jesus.
I already said,
very
yeah. Episode
interested
7 is
to see.
830-ish. And
Oh,
then, episode 8, volume 2 is 700. And then episode 8, volume 3 is 700. I have to ask myself at a certain point, why didn't they just make them 4 volumes each? Why didn't they just do that?
who knows? Because like it's
Maybe they were trying to
They're-
not. I haven't looked at how for the omnibus releases how the chapter breakdown works of like which chapters are from which volumes or whatever. Because I know in the past when we did some that had 3 volumes, they were overlapping into other volumes a bit in the omnibus release, and I don't know if that's the case for this. I imagine not, but I have no idea. But for the remainder of the book club, it's going to be 3 volume chunks.
and
Apparently.
it's chunky.
So good luck, gamers.
I don't like where we end up for next week because it doesn't leave much room for discussion for certain parts because we read so much we get answers in that same part, but
Listen,
gotta
I'm-
read all of it.
I'm just like, I'm looking at the cover for next week's, and I'm like, that looks like 2 new ass characters already. We're
Oh,
supposed to be in the end
no.
game shit. What's going on? Where's our answers, bro? Okay, I have thoughts and opinions. Okay, that I will wait until we take off pre-show to go on about. Okay, but listen.
Like, you know it's good. When there's more characters than Big
get
Fin
to
Zero
be
bosses.
I'm just like, we're heading towards the end. There's no way we're gonna be introducing like
Oh,
5 more characters. Maybe like, a true identity of a person, but it seems like there's. I think I glanced at the AniList page for it. It looks like there was at least 3 new characters. And I'm like, what the fuck? How?
There's
How?
only like 4-ish.
Oh,
new
we're fucked.
characters.
What do you need 4? What? We get backstory and all the. We haven't even gotten backstory and half the characters we already have yet.
Wait, yeah, 5-ish.
oh, we're fucked.
I don't like. What is going on?
Sorry.
Well, you already know who the culprit is, right?
This is
That
where.
answers everything.
This is where we're told, okay, this has been a secret that the whole Umineko community has kept from us all this time. We're going to be finishing episode 8 and find out there's like 8 more episodes, okay? there's the question arc 2 and the answers arc 2, okay? It continues onwards, and nobody has told us about it for all this time.
What
No,
you
it's
did?
the questions, answers, and then truth.
Oh, okay, all right.
You know what Umineko 2, Chip? Come on.
I lied. We're reading Tsubasa after this.
And then we get to Neko Goroshi Hen, yeah? Is that an arc?
So, where's Black Butler fit into all this?
I mean, we got the servants. Some of them are demons, so it's close enough, right?
Close enough.
We got a hell of a butler.
Yeah, true. Okay. We will delay slightly to see if Andy will show up. They said they will be 10 minutes late. We're about 7 minutes past when we're going to start, so we'll just yap for a couple more minutes. Because I am very interested to see, because Andy has binged. He has binged all of the, basically all of episode 6 is what
Yeah.
Andy missed.
Oh,
And
And
so-
also
like,
hated
later?
Mibato at the beginning.
Oh, no. Wait, I didn't read everything that Andy was typing in spoilers or whatever. What was the
like
roller
400
coaster like?
I surprisingly not that big. I was like, okay, he's gonna drop it once he gets to the wedding scene.
No,
You know, the beginning of the episode previewing the marriage to Erica.
Like once they realized
That was really why. That was really
it's
why it
real.
took Andy a while to read. They opened it up. Okay, you saw Erica getting married to Battler. It was like, no, not today. They just didn't do the reading until later.
I mean, can you blame them?
Listen. Erica's a character. All right, I'll give her that.
Sure is.
She ended up being a very different character than I ever expected, given knowing only that she was a new character going to be introduced, her role as a detective, and then being a part of the Answers arc. She played a very different role than what I thought was going to happen, given those like ideas at the start of episode 5 when she was introduced. I was like, oh, she's gonna help Battler, right? They're gonna solve this all together, right? I mean, she might act stuck up and smart about it, but like they're just gonna solve all the mysteries. No, it's we have somehow been so smart. Battler has gotten pissed off at her and has now become defending the witches out of principle of being annoyed by Erica.
Does Battler lose in the end? Let's be honest here. I don't think anyone wins.
Listen, again, I have opinions when it comes to Battler and his win-loss streak, okay?
He's been catching some W's recently. Come on, give him some credit.
Listen.
Questionable W's, but you know,
he
W's.
is incompetent. Did you not remember that was said
No,
in
I
red?
remember that. Listen, okay, listen. I'm still Team Battler, but he makes it hard. He makes it real hard sometimes. He makes it very difficult.
And we're definitive teams at this point anymore. It's gotten so.
he makes it very difficult. Okay, it's. Oh God. Okay.
I find him funny, and that's what counts for me.
He's still a funny guy. He's just a little guy.
Really doesn't like to eat for some reason. I'm not sure why.
He's just a little warlock. No big deal.
I'm practicing some wizardry myself.
Oh wait, did I hit publish on? I did not hit publish on any of my things yet. That would probably help. Let me hit publish on all my things. Did I even ping? Did I even ping
No,
people?
didn't.
No.
Oh my God! Hold on. Now you just got frickin' pinged. Okay.
Oh,
Boom.
my goodness.
See,
Boom.
This is why
How
us delaying.
How
was important.
else?
The cover.
How else were you gonna know we were streaming? How else? Unless you were seeing a giant zoomed in Yuri photo of Delanor and Erica on all your timelines.
I got asked though. I got asked. Why does it kind of look like she's choking out Delanor?
He kind of does.
She probably is, okay? Listen, it's symbolic, all right? You wouldn't understand. You wouldn't get it. Welcome, Andy.
Wait,
Hi.
Andy.
Hold on. I have to fix your
Your
reactive...
icon is being funny. Yeah.
I have to fix your reactive thing. It's still from when we were playing The Room. So you're still the little creature.
My creature.
Yeah, you're
Why can't I be creature?
You cannot be creature. Creature is no. Creature is not allowed.
Fuck you. Uncreatures you.
Uncreatures you. Why did it sign me
Okay,
out of-
I see the choking out Delanor that Shadow is referring to.
Are you okay?
That cover.
Are you dying?
I haven't eaten anything in.
Did you come here playing the role of Battler? What is this?
Maybe I haven't eaten anything in like 8 hours.
You have 5 minutes to go get chips or something.
I have chips. I have my
Start
stream snack
eating
is
now.
a chicken drumstick and a pasta salad. That's what my mom.
Not a
That's
snack,
what.
that's a meal.
That's what my mom got at Costco before she came to pick me up, which is why I'm late. Because she was borrowing my car. So.
Drumstick.
Well, I'll go get. She also got like those peanut butter filled pretzel things. So like, I'll go get some of those if I'm hungry. If I'm hungry later. But I at least want to say like hi before I start eating. You know.
All right, Andy,
But no, I I do not feel good right now.
Jeez. Stop dying. You're not allowed to die until after book club, okay?
Andy,
Specifically after we finish reading all of Umineko, which we've just been told there's 8 more episodes after these 8 that we have to read. That's what we discovered.
Umineko 2.
Umineko's
Are
never
you
gonna
being
end.
dead ass?
No, I'm not being dead ass. Don't worry,
Okay.
don't worry. I was just trolling. I was just doing a little Erica trolling.
You can hear the hopelessness in my voice.
It was just a witch's troll. Don't worry, it was fine.
It wasn't in red. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Okay, before you get off, Andy, I have a question for you. Is this Doridoro in the room with us?
What the hell does that mean?
What's going on?
Listen, Doro was happening during final season, okay? This just happened to be during a depressive episode. It's different.
Well, stop dying.
Why didn't I read? I think it was homework.
For some reason, your name on the stream thing was Nyan PNG Tuber. I've changed it back, so it's but for some reason, it just said your name was Nyan PNG Tuber. I think I thought it was like, oh, you can name this selection of like the avatars that we use. So I just wrote it as that at first, and then it turned out to just be it overrides your name to be that.
Yeah, you can't go leaking your files. Come on.
Listen. Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
He made it so that the stream could see our nicknames instead of our usernames, so I could change my name to Nyan PNG Tuber.
You're allowed.
And,
you're allowed to do it.
That's what I'd become.
I don't think there's PNG tubers in Umineko though, but I could be wrong.
Not yet.
Maybe we just aren't seeing it. You know, without love, we can't see the PNG.
Kraus is on it, okay? It's going to be a big thing in the future.
Kraus would be a huge V.
He would.
Fan. Okay.
Yeah.
But for who exactly, though? We got to pinpoint down.
Well, pick any.
He's the one that started Hollow Live before it started having all its controversies and firing all their good people or something like that.
You're talking about Neji.
Yeah, Neji's Neji.
I mean, Hollow's also done some of that, but you're thinking Neji.
Well, my joke sort of landed then. Close enough.
Success. Comedy is successful.
Success? Question mark.
Okay, are we ready to start, or do you have to step away to go get something real quick?
I told you I have food in front of me. I'm eating it.
I'm just checking. I'm double checking to make sure. Are we good to go, gamers?
I'm good to go.
All right. Let me close this and we will begin. Oh my god. How do I get rid of this fucking... Don't show again. I don't care about... Okay, if you're on Twitch, okay, apparently they're doing some dumb fucking thing. If you sub or gift a sub to somebody, you get 3 months of Discord Nitro. I don't give a fuck, okay? Tell Twitch to stop. Leave me alone, please.
Anyway,
right.
Actually,
Leave me alone.
Sorry, I do have one pre-show meme.
Okay, what's your pre-show meme?
Ari, were you here for the Takumi incident?
The what?
Ari was not here for anything related to Chaos Ed, no.
I'm not referring to that Takumi incident. This is during Umineko. We discovered during Umineko.
Oh,
this
that
whole
one.
time
okay.
we could have been using the Takumi text to speech.
Yeah, I have a text to speech redeem. Okay, and so I had thought as long as I have this one folder on the scene that's labeled alerts turned off, then you couldn't make any sounds happen on the stream, regardless of the settings of the redeems. Then people started using the Takumi TTS redeem, and I had no way of seeing on OBS how it was happening. There was no indicator. I muted everything, and it was still happening. And I could not see any volume thing moving on my end, and yet it was still happening. I had no idea why or how it happened, and apparently people for all this time could have been using that during the book club stream. But thankfully,
not anymore.
People rarely use those redeems, so it never...
We lost our opportunity.
It never happened, so nobody got to do any weird witch magic trolling on the stream, okay?
Yeah, I was about to say, granted, during Umineko,
it would have been
the opportunity to do it.
Why does everybody want to troll my streams, okay? This is fucked up.
Okay,
right.
You will admit, though, it'd be very funny if it did happen.
Listen.
Can you actually permit Takumi just for this one stream?
No, I cannot.
What about the Umineko finale?
No, we have other shit. We're gonna be discussing things during the Umineko finale. You ever think of that? You ever think about how much we're gonna have to dissect our feelings and emotions after reading
I don't
peak
have
fiction?
feelings.
Oh, okay, fair enough. All right, let's begin. I'm gonna take off pre-show. Welcome everybody to another exciting episode of the Anime Book Club here on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick all at the same time. You can find all these links at wolfborg.com, or you can just type Wolfborg or just type twitch.wolfborg.com, youtube.wolfborg.com, kick.wolfborg.com. Go to all the things, okay? Subscribe, like, all that. All right, hello, welcome. We are back once again discussing Umineko When They Cry, the manga. Specifically, we are on the end of episode 6, volumes 5 and 6 of episode 6. This is the end of episode 6, Dawn of the Golden Witch. But before we get into all that, let's introduce everybody who's here this week. Starting in alphabetical order, as usual, I am Chaplain, aka Battlerborg, here, representing my boy Battler. He makes it very difficult sometimes, but we're still here repping Battler. Okay, we're still here.
You're back.
He's fine. He's fine. And what would I recommend for this week? Oh, I know what I would. I kept forgetting. I was going to mention it in the past streams, but I kept forgetting. I have discovered there is a music video series called Alien Stage, which is awesome. It is a Korean...
No way! No way!
What's the issue? What's the issue here? What's the issue here?
there
I know
are-
it's blown up on TikTok recently.
If I had a nickel for every time that sexual assault came up in Chav's Discord this last week, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice. I'm pretty sure one of the idols in Alien Stage, gets raped in one of the videos.
I don't remember that, but I don't remember that. I don't remember that if it did happen.
Maybe it was a different video series by Vivinos, who did another really popular... Or who's done a lot of popular videos. Anyway, sorry.
All right, so let me just explain, because the premise of it is not rape in these videos, okay? Just to clarify, okay? The premise of Alien Stage is it is a Korean music video death game series in which an alien race has kidnapped, captured all the humans and is forcing some of them to compete in, these performance battles against each other for their own amusement, and the loser dies. And I think... it's pretty well done. Apparently it's been going on for 2 fucking years and nobody told me about it. And I'm like, this is exactly my kind of thing. This is awesome. And I like the music too. It's pretty cool. And I think it's supposed to have a new entry this month or something. So go check out that if you're interested. It's pretty quick to check out all the entries that are there because they're 3 minutes of video or whatever. And there's 6 videos or something like that. So it's pretty good to get into. It's pretty cool. So go check that out. Alien Stage. Next up, we have Shadow Man. Introduce yourself.
I am Shad. You know what I recommend, Andy?
Yeah? If you say Dorohedoro, I'm killing you.
Well, there's the answer. I didn't even say it this time.
Wow,
Yeah.
amazing.
Alien Stage is by Vivinos,
Yes.
who has done several very good yandere music videos in the past. There's a Magical Girl one. There's the Pink Bitch Club. Suki Suki Daisuki is the one that I was thinking of. This was all before Alien Stage, so actually most of their stalkerish yandere stuff is the stuff that I know them for. I think before Alien Stage started. Anyway, that's why I recognize Alien Stage is because of their more gory, or the more cutesy gory stuff.
I see. I've never really gotten into music video series before, except for Mikaku City Actors or whatever.
Vivinos is fun. I definitely really like their style. Alien Stage is very different from the stuff that I like. Alien Stage is very later 2010, more within the last 6 years, anime style, or K-manga style. A lot of their older stuff is very retro 80s, 90s, early 2000s. Anime Sailor Moon, or the the weird old Clanad head anatomy with the huge eyes that were not proportional at all. Yeah.
Okay, let's not talk about this for too long because we should get into Umineko stuff. So, do you have anything you want to say, Nyan, for your intro?
You guys should all join the Discord.
True. Discord.wolfborg.com. Discord.wolfborg.com. Discord.wolfborg.com.
We can vote for Black Butler next. We can't.
Oh, never mind. Hold on. We're rigging the vote. No.
We can't let New Game win. Okay?
No, what's wrong with New Game?
We can't have.
What's wrong with New Game? Why can't we have cutesy stuff? Why can't we read like quintuplets? What's wrong? Why can't we just read something nicer?
I said what I
It's all
said.
depressing all the way down. Okay,
Listen,
my
all I know-
down arc is gonna be fucked.
Listen. All I know is, okay, at the very least, the next series we have to vote for cannot be insanely long. I'm probably putting a limit to the number of volumes we're gonna read for the next series. Okay, it's gonna take us like 6 months total to finish Umineko. All right, we're not.
I'm sorry, it takes a long time to read Peak, okay?
It's fine.
Listen.
It's fine.
Unfortunate, because one of the mangas I was going to suggest was Oron, and I think that's like 18 volumes.
I mean, compared to Umineko, everything's
yes.
shorter.
I mean, how many volumes was Land of the Lustrous? That was like 13, right? I think that's a pretty good size. It was like 13 volumes. Dora was like 26 volumes. That one was our longest series until Umineko right after.
Umineko.
All right.
They hold very long.
Granted, we only I already knew that we were going to do the whole thing from the start. Initially, we only thought we were going to do the first 4 episodes.
Yeah. That's just how it goes. All right.
I already knew the whole time. We all know.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Andy. And last but not least, we have Aremia. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Aremia. Happy Umitober.
Woo!
I don't
Umitober.
really
what's
have
the prompt
anything
today?
special.
What's the
Today's
Umitober prompt today?
is gouge.
Oh, there's
Actually,
a lot of that.
I have it written in my planner.
There's a lot of that today.
Just looking through the planner. Okay, today we're gouging.
Yeah,
Ari has it next to all the Spooktober stuff that they have to do today.
Okay.
I do actually. I have a picture. I literally have a sticker of Erica on my planner for today.
Oh my god.
That's amazing.
Don't share it on stream, but I'll post it in the Discord.
All right.
You just have like the epitaph to reference words.
Yeah, you know how like a lot of physical school planners will have those inspirational quotes up at the top of every month. It's a different line of the epitaph for everyone.
Gouge the head. Next day, gouge the stomach. All right. Well, thank you so much for that. And we are back again discussing Umineko When They Cry at the end of episode 6. But before we get into the end of episode 6, we want to get an update from Andy, who has not been here the last couple of weeks, but has binged all of episode 6 in order to get caught up in time for this. What are some of your thoughts about the chapters leading up to this week's chapters? What are some opinions or thoughts or theories you've come up with that you were expressing?
It's all an allegory for understanding your inner self.
It's probably true, but that also seems vague enough to apply to most series, I think.
Yeah, elaborate. You're not getting off just that.
I mean,
You can't pull us.
I don't know. Here's the problem. So
Okay.
for those who aren't in the Discord and are listening to this retroactively, as I was reading the past 2 days, I've basically been live blogging my thoughts in the Anime Book Club chat.
Yep.
The problem is that I was coming up with that stuff as I was reading. So once I got to the end that we read for this week, looking back on it, it all sounded so stupid. So now I'm like, actually, I learned nothing from this episode because the last couple scenes undid everything that I thought of.
Wait, hold on. I need to mention this.
Yes.
All right. So what you're telling me is Andy really is Battler.
True.
The main takeaways that I have
Okay.
is
What are the main
that
takeaways?
I'm pretty sure that it's trauma based. And if we're suspending our belief in magic for the time being,
Beatrice doesn't like that.
it is safe to
You're a
assume
witch. How dare you?
I'm a false witch. We've been over this. I had my weird gender crisis in the chat already.
Like, all right, we're playing devil's advocate for one time.
If we assume that everything that involves magic is not reality, right?
Okay.
it is reasonable to assume that all of this is a episode in response to some kind of traumatic event. This psychological the psychological happenings that are almost physically affecting Battler is completely reasonably like what would happen, inside your head after a severely traumatic experience, especially if he's say warping his perception of history, like completely misconstruing what the events might have been. I mentioned in particular like his locking of the heart. I don't know if that was mentioned this week or in the previous weeks. But like his dissociative episodes, the fact that he'll switch erratically from being cocky and stubborn into being depressed and like self-loathing or whatever. Now, obviously, there's the question of, okay, how much of that is theatrical and how much of that can I actually push to say this is a trauma response into something that we don't know about? The other thing that I was talking about as I was reading was the idea that a lot of this is Battler. Sorry, I'm laughing at my own joke before I said it. Is the idea of Battler battling these parts of himself that are manifesting as the witches and the furniture. The reason that I don't even believe in that now after the fact is because of the scene at the end with like Beatrice like being reincarnated or what the fuck ever with like the weird ghost self. I don't fucking know what was going on there. There was something else that I wanted to say. Oh, my main takeaway from episode 6 was that the artist was definitely a hentai artist. 100%. They knew what they were doing with that ring scene.
Probably. I believe they've also, from what I remember, they've at least done work on the Is It Wrong to Kill Girls in a Dungeon series. It was either the manga or like an anthology series thing or something like that. So I know they've done stuff related to that, which from what I remember is like isekai sort of ecchi series, but not like fully. But like
I sent that to Nate in my Discord server, and he was like, "They knew what they were doing," and I was like, "Yeah, they knew what they were doing."
I say sort of. I was gonna say I say sort of because I don't think Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon is focused on the ecchi. It just has like fan servicey scenes with a lot of the girls, especially Hestia or whatever. So that's why I say that. What were you gonna say, Remy?
And one of their earliest works, at least listed on AniList, is Minagoroshi Hin from Higurashi, which is one of the later arcs, one of the later episodes in Higurashi. So they did that, and then they did Umineko.
What is the artist's name? Hinase Momoyama? Is that it?
Yep, Hinase Momoyama.
Okay, so that's them. So if you are listening to this and want to go check out the stuff that they do and their art style, you can go look up Hinase Momoyama. I like their style with like these last volumes especially. I think I like how it worked with everything.
I didn't like how they did Battler or George, but I liked how they did.
Yeah, I can understand that. I
liked how they did most of the witches. I really liked how they did Dlanor.
Yes.
The next artist, I like this one a lot better.
Beatrice was a little bit of a hit or miss.
Yeah.
For me, kind of depended.
I think
but I definitely think they were a good artist for the fledgling Beatrice.
That I think is like my opinions on the art style of Beatrice. I'm cautious about for this episode because most of it is drawing fledgling Beatrice, and I don't know. I don't think fledgling Beatrice looks that interesting for me compared to every other type of Beatrice that there is. She is, and that's fine. But I don't know. It's just
no, it's not. She needs to be cackling.
That's the main thing. I got no problem with fledgling Beatrice, but I would rather have cackling evil. What was my theory? Evil Aunt Beatrice. I want that back.
Do you still believe that theory?
I mean, listen. Anything could be happening. I have theories. In
my head, it's like a cousin or something.
So, okay. Before we get into that, okay, we are now going to start the discussion on this week's reading more specifically.
No, hold on.
Why? Do you have something? Do you have something, Shadow? What do you got? What do you got first?
I want to mention Dandy some of our insane theories from the previous 2 streams.
Kenzo isn't real. Or not Kenzo. Fucking canon isn't real.
So one of my theories, I'll tell you some of mine or whatever. my one at the beginning was I didn't think this was actually Battler at all. I thought this Battler was supposed to be representation of Kinzo. In some kind of way towards the beginning. I don't really know if that holds on through the whole episode, but towards the beginning I felt that, especially with how he was treating fledgling Beatrice. I had thought that this was like, because my initial theory about Kinzo was that he might have had a mistress who was represented by Beatrice. They had a child, and this child, he was, after Beatrice died, he was trying to raise her to be exactly like the Beatrice he knew, and she would not be like the Beatrice he knew because she can't. She's a different person, gonna have different memories, different experiences. And so that's why I thought that. And also I think we had a line from Anjay who was like reading about it being like, why do I as a woman feel uncomfortable around Battler right now? And I was like, is it because he's sexist? Is it Kinzo? I don't know what's going on.
The only reason why Battler could be possibly sexist is because he's possessed by Kinzo. That's it. That's the only reason.
He put on the ring and immediately became sexist.
Like, it was all that plus the cape, I think. All that plus the cape. I'm like, is this actually Kinzo? I don't know. But
it's the only time Anjay actually reflects while reading it. She's like, hold up. What's wrong with Battler?
So that was one theory. I mean, the other one was I had assumed towards the our discussions last week that yes, because of the nature of how the love trial is set up, Canon and Shannon are probably one person.
That's what I was saying.
And that seems to be literally confirmed with the end of this episode. But that's a whole thing. I'm trying to think of what other theories that we had there.
There's one other one.
What was the other one?
I think it was you that said Beatrice is Shannon.
Well, so okay, now I want to extend my thing. The theory about Canon and Shannon being one person, I think I can now safely assume that Beatrice is also included in this single person, I think. Okay. I don't know if it's necessarily they're all Shannon. I don't know if it's necessarily like Shannon and Canon don't exist, but a different person exists instead, and Shannon and Canon are just different representations of them, or what? I don't know what the story is there, but I'm pretty sure whatever the deal is, Beatrice is probably included with whatever actual person that they are, because of the nature of them all competing in the love trial together, and even Beatrice loses in that and has to disappear when that happens. So I feel like for the same reason why I would assume Canon and Shannon are the same person, Beatrice is also a part of them, I think. So, but I don't know. That's just the current theory that I have.
Okay, so for thoughts and clarification's sake, is Gap considered furniture?
Tough to say. I haven't been trying to think much about Gap and what they represent. I have already assumed at this point that Genji is Ronove, but I don't really know if I care to figure out who Gap is supposed to represent. Some of the like demon servants or whatever, I'm just like, okay, this is probably just going to be some of the side servants that we know or whatever. I don't really. Or like some kind of like literal
we can
object.
Pretty safely assume at this current moment that we're running on the assumption that Virgilia is Kumasawa, right?
Well, I mean, I think that was literally shown to us. What that is supposed to mean, I'm not sure. Maybe it's supposed to be representative of like the knowledge of raising the Beatrice that we've known from the secret mansion or whatever.
Right.
So, like, I mean, it probably is that Virgilia is representative of Kumasawa, but why that is the connection, and you know, especially with the type of person Virgilia is, I think it's probably because related to the raising of a young Beatrice at that secret mansion or whatever. I don't know, but probably.
See, counter argument: if
Yes.
Ronove is Genji and Virgilia is Kumasawa, Gap is Gouda, obviously.
That's true. That's true. That's true. Listen. Gouda got his ass out. What the fuck?
That's what I'm saying.
Gap is so. I'm consulting the wiki just to be double check.
Okay,
point.
all right.
Gap is described as Beatrice's friend.
Of course.
I'm
Good
going
friend,
to
Gouda.
double check the terms before.
Friend, in quotes. Friend. Cousins. You know.
Ronove is her head furniture.
Okay.
And Virgilia is her teacher.
Okay.
Previous master, a teacher, whatever you want to call it.
I'm hesitant, to be quite frank, to consider Ronove furniture because of the head status, he seems to be elevated.
Too bad, he's furniture. No.
So,
because obviously, which reading was it introduced that furniture don't have complete souls?
I think it was last week.
Was that last week?
It's kind of episode 2.
yeah, it was like an early detail thing that they tried to explain, but it was at a time where I was just like,
because y'all were bitching about them going like, why does Canon keep saying he's this?
No, at the time I was calling him a little bitch for calling himself furniture every 5 sentences. Okay, he was a little bitch back then. He was like, I can't.
Still is a little bitch.
He is. The whole time he's just like, I can't go. I still remember too. We mentioned this one week. He's like, I can't go out with Jessica. I'm just furniture. It can't be done. And then he's like, I can't do it. And then Shannon's like, are you sure though? He's like, oh, you know what? Fine, you're right. I'll go ask her out. I'll find. He like folded immediately. I say immediately.
Just a little guy going through puberty.
Now I say immediately, but Andy, did you pick up the scene that we noticed and discussed where Shannon and Canon had a very intimate discussion?
Yes.
Yes. So there was another detail that we picked up, and Aramia posted it in the chat. The bed so Shannon's like on top of Canon, rubbing her tits in his face, essentially, being like, "Oh, why don't you convince Jessica to go out with you? What if you do that?" The bed that they're on, there's another.
So out of pocket.
The bed they're on is like comically large to the point where you're like, "Why are they on top of each other like this? Unless they're like fucking. What is happening here?"
No, my problem is that the room makes no sense because here it is. Look, they have this big room and then they have these 2 giant beds right up beside each other. Like you can't get in the other bed.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't. You have to like climb from the foot of it up to the front. Like what?
Wait, do you not usually do that? Is that? Wait, hold on a minute.
No, you climb in from the side.
Listen.
What?
Most people don't have to climb from like the foot of the bed and like climb vertically to get into their bed. No, but I mean, I do.
If you have enough room in a room, you typically have the beds not pushed together. You have them where there's space where you can
tiny
in
space
between them.
Listen, it's symbolism. It's symbolism, okay?
Symbolism of what?
I'm going to
how much they want to fuck.
Chat cuts off this line of logic. The fact that they're the same person.
That they're connected. They're connected. You know,
I'm going to insert this before Chap interrupts this line of conversation.
Yes.
I have been absolutely obsessively thinking about the layout of the cousin's room because I'm still trying to figure out how to write my Battler eating disorder fic.
Oh, okay.
And I'm trying to figure out if he like gets sick and is in the cousin's room but like throwing up with the other cousins in there. So then I have to be like, okay, how many cousins are in the room? How are the beds arranged? Were they sharing beds? Like, I mean, like, not in a weird way, but like when we were camping, I would share. Listen,
this is a weird way. This is a very weird way.
It's a weird way. It's a weird way.
Just to let
It's a
you
weird
know.
way. Listen, Shannon had her tits all over in Cannon's face. Okay, I don't know what was going on
That
there.
was much less weird than whatever Andy is talking about.
Listen.
I was just saying that like I've shared a bed with family before when there weren't enough beds.
That's not what we were talking about, though.
That's
We were
fine.
talking.
Anyways, okay.
See,
All
they
right.
push the beds together. All the cousins are sleeping.
Okay, all right. Listen. We're not here to talk about the potential incest going on in the Ushiromiya family, okay? We're not here to discuss that yet. Unless that turns out to be a key component of the story, okay? Don't worry about that. Listen, okay. All right. Let's start simply.
One more thing.
Okay, what is... All right, Columbo, what do you got for us? What do you got for us, Columbo?
Okay. So during last week's reading...
Yes.
After Chef said that Beatrice is Shannon, I immediately cut off and said, no, counter argument, Battler is Shannon.
True. That's the only answer. That's the only...
Shannon.
Yeah, true. It's there is no Ushiromiya family. It's only Battler. And he's concocted this whole story that he is a part of this like wealthy family in his head. The Ushiromiyas aren't shit, okay? It's just Battler. He's an orphan.
I'm saying. It's in response to trauma. Because he got dropped off the cliff.
No, I think it's all because he hasn't eaten in days and he's having delusions, okay? That's what this is. All right, we're done with this. Okay, I'm cutting
Wait,
I'm cutting the memes off. We're cutting the memes off. We
please,
have to talk about this week. What?
No.
We have to talk about this week's reading. Please,
okay,
Shadow.
hold on. You reminded me of Battler the Reused Child. And we have to mention this. This is too funny.
Oh,
The
yes.
reviews
So
done?
another theory that I had, because there's a theory that Beatrice presented that Natsuhi, when Natsuhi threw the baby off the cliff or knocked the baby out, whatever it was. Okay. All right.
Tried
That
to kill the
baby, that baby that died or whatever, that Natsuhi kind of just threw off the cliff, essentially. Allegedly was Battler, which was how Beatrice justified going after Natsuhi as to like her choice to kill.
Right.
So
right.
my theory, my meme theory, was that the baby did not actually die from falling off the cliff. They recovered the baby, and then Kinzo said, well, can't give that baby back to her. She'll try to kill him again. So she gave that baby to Rudolph. And that Battler, and the meme about why Battler's not related to Asumu is because he's also an adopted
See?
fake child.
I don't think that's a meme. I think that's true.
Listen.
Which
So
then spread me-
we had to recycle the baby. We had to recycle Battler, okay? Because
Consider
Recycle.
the idea that Kinzo preferred Asumu over Kyrie.
Yes.
So Kinzo was like, let's
Yep.
pretend that Asumu successfully had
Yep.
a child so
Yep.
that Asumu and Rudolph could marry and get Kyrie out of the picture. And now Kyrie is
Yep.
still here, and he's like, what the fuck?
That was the idea. So, it could still happen. I'm just saying.
I support this.
I'm
No,
still
I
saying.
agree.
Wait,
So, all right.
hold on.
Okay,
No,
all
no,
right, what?
hold on.
Please, for the love of God, we have to get on to this week's. We have to. Please stop. We have to talk about this week's stuff. We have to talk about this week's stuff. We're
So
almost an
after you-
hour in. We're almost an hour in. Please. Okay. All right.
So after you said that, I
Yes.
then came up with the idea that actually everyone in the Hiroshima family is adopted.
True. It could be
True.
possible. Could be possible. So, and I have another theory to add on to that later on. But we'll start with the events
Oh my
of the beginning of
gosh.
this week are the logic problem between Battler and Erica. The big logic battle. So, Battler has, as the game master in this episode, the point of this game is for him to show he has figured out the secrets. He knows everything now. And he is ready to prove that by hosting his own game, right? And presenting certain hints, answers, whatever, presenting a story that would showcase how much he knows. Didn't do a very good fucking job at it, I think. Pretty dog shit job at it, I think, because and I don't really necessarily think it's his fault in some respects. Erica, with this logic game puzzle, okay? So Battler's idea with this episode, we know now. His game's idea was not only that he wanted to make himself the culprit, which is why we had the funny little moment where he's like, oh, Battler was one of the victims too, and he joked around and said, I just felt like killing myself. I thought that would be a funny little thing or whatever.
Same, bestie.
I just thought it'd be a fun little thing
Makes
to
things interesting.
Think
Yeah.
so.
yeah, it just mix it up a little bit. So
Erica was so frustrating in this episode.
Erica did the meme, one of the other memes that I joked about last week.
Last
Entirely.
week he was like, well, if you want to make sure they're dead,
I
just
joked
kill 'em."
about it. I was like, listen, if you Erica right now is in the role where she does not have the detective's privileges, and so she cannot know 100% the state of a body. She can have Najo give her a statement about it, but she doesn't know if she can trust it. She can examine the body herself, but she doesn't know 100% because there's no red truth in the real world. She can't know for 100% if the body's alive or not. So, how do you actually confirm if the body's alive or not? Well, if you kill the body again, that'll fucking confirm it. And I joked about that last week, and I'm realizing now why Miko didn't laugh at that at all, because it was absolutely what happened. I was like, Miko's pretty quiet at that one. Was that just not a good bit? Was this just not a good
No,
bit?
you went too far. That's too far. How dare you think of something that deranged?
I was
What
like,
Erica would do.
that's what Erica did. So
My
we
new
now-
philosophy, WWED. What would Erica do?
and now here's an extension to that too. Okay,
My
what
new-
makes it even funnier? Okay, is not just that Erica killed them again to make sure they were dead. It's the fact that they were all still alive because Battler wanted the story to be that they were all playing a trick on the detective that has joined them on this
I mentioned
evening.
last week too.
That's another thing they all mentioned.
They all were playing dead because the whole family wanted to play a trick on Erica, okay? And Erica actually killed all of them. So, but
Because
and now
Battler finally gets the chance to create his own story here, so of course the guy that's been yelling, "Please don't kill my family," makes the story where his family
none of them
doesn't
die.
die.
Yes.
It's just a little prank, and there's a little I didn't take a screenshot of it, but there's the little part where you see each of them like preparing their fake deaths and stuff. It's so cute. And then Erica murdered them all.
Chat.
Yeah,
So sorry to interrupt. I did
God.
move my microphone closer, so
Okay.
just in case I get loud, you might have to
you've
turn it
already
down.
you've already been peaking several times. I've already turned you down to like 70%. Don't worry.
I'm so sorry. I just wanted to let you know that I did change my mic position.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so that was one of the big things, was Erica being Erica as usual, the deranged rat detective, intellectual rapist that she is. Okay, doing her thing, being like, how can I really know? But there's more to it. Okay, a lot more to it. We don't even get to that part yet, and Battler's already sweating. So Erica enters the room. So where we're at here is Battler has tried to throw in some kind of mystery into now that the bodies have been discovered, and several, all the remaining survivors have been locked into 2 different rooms with a person guarding them, and Erica has sneaked out of the room. Sneaked. Yes, we had a whole discussion about sneaked and snuck. She has sneaked out of the rooms.
I asked an international student at my workplace whose language is whose second language is English, and he also said that snuck sounds more correct. So fuck you.
It doesn't. It's just wrong.
Wrong here.
For the viewers listening, okay, it's a grammar discussion about whether sneaked or snuck would be the correct past tense of sneak, right? Sneaked, ed, or snuck.
And the answer
is both of them are correct, but the original one was sneaked. Both of them are correct. Sneaked was the original, and then snuck became more popular.
Like the 1800s or something, but sneaked is considered the formal one, so if you're using formal writing, you should be using sneaked.
And that all became a thing because Andy threw out in the spoiler chat, which is yelling, sneaked is not a word. Stop saying sneak. Sneak is not a word. I'm actually. So that was what that was about. Anyways, so Erica.
Hold on.
Okay, please.
Sorry. And I found the screenshot of the thing that Ari missed.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
the
I'll show
little,
that.
like,
I'll show
planning
that.
your deaths.
I'll show
Yeah.
that.
You should show. Wait, sorry, I didn't. Ari's planner is so cute.
I know. I was told not to put that on stream, so.
Sorry.
Your eyes only. Congrats.
Only if you're in
you
discord.wolfborg.com can you see that. These are bonus memes, only for exclusive on there. Anyways, so Erica has snuck out of that room. All the survivors are in there, and she finds a letter saying that Battler's body has been moved. And she's like, I got him now. I got it. Because she had access to 3 pieces of tape that she could use to seal the rooms. Battler stupidly gave her that after they put on the puppy dog eyes and looked like they were getting beat up by Burncastle. Okay. Battler gave her 3 seals to use on 3 of the rooms. In the end, she chose Battler's Battler's body's room, because of course, that's Battler. Of course. And then the 2 rooms with the guests in them are also sealed, so that she'll know if it's been broken. And so she goes over to Battler's room to investigate, because now she's been given a letter that says Battler's body's been moved. And she's like so confident that he will not be able to get out of this. She's just like, listen, I'll give you one chance here, okay? We'll let you change this letter. We'll let you rewrite this if you need to, Battler. He's like, no, we're going to keep going with this. We're going with this. So she goes to the room. She opens the door. And no body there. Okay. It's a little concerning. No body there. Then begins the red truths, okay? She's like, okay, I'm in this room. Battler's not on the bed. Battler confirms. Battler's not on the bed, right? He confirms that. They confirm that with the red truth. Delnor's there, making sure and all that. Okay? Nobody's in there. Then she goes into the you know, just checking around, looks in the bathroom.
This was all this week's reading?
Yes.
Yes.
It was all
That
the
was
logic
so
problem stuff.
much.
It was all
Oh
the
my
logic
God.
problem discussion. The logic problem
Okay.
discussion was like the big thing this week. So checks out the bathroom, hot water's running or whatever, like the water's essentially running, steam or whatever, and it's like a little distracty, quirky thing or whatever. But okay. And Battler's like confident about that one too. Erica goes out and is like, okay, Battler wasn't in the bathroom either. Now I've confirmed. There's only one place in the room Battler could be. He has to be in the closet. Somebody has to be in the closet. Because a very, very key, important point, which was that the chain lock, she had reapplied the chain lock once she had entered. Now, the chain lock previously was destroyed when they broke into the room to get Battler out of there. Or to find the body. Not to get his body out of there, but to go in and find the body, because there was a chain lock on the door there. So they broke it previously. Erica fixed it with the tape, which apparently she's allowed to fucking do, because she's like, well, technically the tape was for the seal for the whole room, so I'm allowed to use my tape to also fix the chain. So I could do that too, which, okay. That's, all right, that's one thing. I have a major complaint that's related to that, and several other things that happen throughout all of this.
Yeah, I do
okay.
too. It's all of Erica. Get this bitch out of here.
Erica is one thing. My whole thing is, why are you allowed to keep information from the game master with this shit about that? Battler is able to rewrite the logic of things if he wants to, but his hand is being forced to rewrite them in certain ways because information is being retroactively kept from him in his own fucking game. I think that's kind of bullshit. I understand why it's happening in like a meta context, I guess.
Yeah.
For like the narrative reasons for why it's happening. I still think it's kind of bullshit towards Battler when he's trying to explain to us that he's solved everything. I don't. So that was one thing. The other one was, are you fucking allowed to win as the detective? Well, she's not really a detective. Are you allowed to win by just making yourself the culprit? Because that's what Erica has pretty much done. She has tried to make it so that Battler loses by her being the culprit, and that nobody else could have done it except her, who's like a human. Is this how you could?
Well,
I'm just thinking to myself, like, could Battler have won this game in game 2 if he just killed everybody himself? Is this what could have happened? Like, what is happening here?
Probably, but Battler wouldn't do that.
Red truth, Erica was not the culprit.
Listen,
I'm pressing X to down on that one.
well, we know she's killed at least 5 people, at least, because she confirmed that, right?
Yeah.
That's why she was able to
cut
say
off
the
their
red
heads.
truth.
Yeah.
She cut off their heads. So she
That's
has
pretty good.
killed
Fire away
at least
doing it.
5 people. Okay, 5 people are dead from Erica. We know this as a fact here. Okay, I don't understand why we're allowed to just do that. As somebody who's supposed to be the game master, I don't know why that's allowed. But okay, whatever. I understand narrative reasons. Whatever. So, all right, we have a whole big issue now because of all these retroactive ass pulls that she keeps pulling out towards Battler. To now, Battler at some point was trying to find a way to make it so that somebody else could have gotten him out of the room, because now he's not allowed to leave the room because the chain lock has to still be on the door. So when Erica opens the closet, the truth is supposed to be revealed about, you know, somebody inside. Probably Battler is the idea. Battler is trapped inside the room, and he cannot leave this room because of the chain lock on the door. No matter what is happening in the bathroom, he's supposed to not be able to leave. That's the logic that's presented by Erica, at least. And she's so confident in it that when Battler's like, Battler has left the room or whatever, and Erica's like, this bullshit, that can't happen. They have like Lambda Delta check, and Lambda's like, no, it's valid. So now it's like extended to be like, okay, Battler was in the closet, but somebody came in to the room and took his place in the closet or whatever. But
Yes.
then the question becomes, okay, how could somebody have done that if the guest rooms were sealed
They're
or
all
whatever?
dead.
Yeah, because he was gonna have one of the other victims come save him. But that's when Erica reveals the whole none of them could have done it. And Battler's like, why the fuck can you say Red Truth? Because I fucking killed them. That's why, okay? Giga Chat Erica over here. I killed them all. All right, I make my Red Truth, okay?
It is
I thought it
terrifying when she declares
Yes.
that Kirie cannot save him.
Yep.
Because it's just like, okay, yay, he figures something. You should all be a Kirie cannot save
I knew
Battler.
immediately. I was screaming when that happened. I was like, no shot. They used the thing that I memed about last week. No shot. And then it happened. I was like, holy shit. I was, oh God. I felt so
It's
much
so
during that
good.
reveal. I felt so much during that reveal. I was like, no fucking shot. We actually did that meme. I was like, this is entirely in character with Erica now as I know her. But I just did not think that Ryukishi would have the balls to do it with what he was trying to do with this episode. But then
It's-
again, it feels like Battler just completely failed with what he was trying to get at with this episode, honestly. But
Look, he's doing his best already.
so okay, Battler's stuck in this like
Love trial, at least.
he's stuck in this logic room thing, and they do a whole thing where they're just like, okay, you are not allowed to leave this. The game will be paused, and you will not be allowed to leave until you figure out a way to get yourself out of here. So you're going to be stuck eternally in this. Beatrice can't stay with you. Beatrice, I think, was trying to also come up with a way to help him.
Yeah. Chickbito.
Dude,
And
she
then-
wasn't doing too well.
observing the duel, I think.
Yeah, and then meanwhile we had the duel between Cannon and Shannon, who have a traditional pistol duel.
Yes.
As you do.
It was a pistol duel,
You know, the things the American way.
so
True.
they take 19 paces specifically because 19 is an important number. It was like the number of people at the beginning. Was that what it was? I forget. how
19
it
was the
explained.
number of people that were considered to be on the islands, because that's what Battler was trying to argue, that
Yep.
when he thought Kenzo was still alive, that was at 18, so he was trying to argue that there was another person there, which is 19.
Yep.
And then you've got 19, which is the true age of Beatrice.
So they take their 19 steps back. They go to do the duel. Cannon shoots, and Shannon immediately drops to the ground so that the bullet would miss. And now she has the only gun. And then Cannon runs up to her. Hold on, I'm trying to remember the full details of it.
Yes. So Cannon shoots, and Shannon immediately ducks because Cannon thinks my sister's gonna be too timid to shoot immediately, so I'm gonna take the offensive. And she goes, "Well, he's probably gonna shoot immediately, so I'm gonna duck." So she does that, and then he rushes her before she can shoot her bullet. The guns go flying in the air.
They each
And they
catch
both-
one. They don't know
They
which one has the
catch
bullet.
one.
Yep.
But they kind of do, because one of them is going to be warm.
Oh, that's true. I don't know why they wouldn't put.
That,
Oh, well,
that detail is not in the manga,
That's-
sadly, but it
Sure.
is definitely there, where it's like they know already
sure.
who's
I mean, that
already
would.
won.
So that would be true. I was trying not to think too deeply about that because I'm like, this is all metaphorical, anyways. I don't, I don't need,
I think in Kakegurui, when they were doing that, the belief was also like the one with the bullet, like in Kakegurui, the one with the bullet would be heavier.
That's true
That too.
too.
I
Than the
think
one
that
without.
and the heat was mentioned, and it's just like
So,
and
anyways,
of course Shannon wins.
yeah, Shannon wins. Cannon dies, and because we have a winner declared, all the losers disappear. So Cannon
Which-
disappears and Beatrice disappears.
If I may, I feel like that probably would have been hinted at through the entire exchange of Jessica not really knowing how she fell in love with Cannon. Whereas George had
So-
a little bit more of a concrete explanation. Like I feel
So-
like that was a little bit of foreshadowing, but I don't know.
With
Yeah,
Jessica,
it
we
is.
we talked about this a little bit in some of the weeks that you weren't here. That week was when I started to be sus of Shannon being like, Shannon's just manipulating all the kids into murdering everybody because because that was okay. Let me rub my tits in Candace's face. Tell him to, ask Jessica to marry, and then we'll convince them to start killing things or whatever. We'll get all the kids on our side. And we'll kill everybody. George is already definitely down to kill. You want me to kill? I'll kill right now. No doubt. So, but we gotta get Jessica on board too. With Jessica though, Jessica's thing was, I had no interest in love until I had seen. And until Shannon had told me about her and George, and I got convinced that, I would like that too. And then Cannon was the only boy around. So I was like, okay, so that's another case of Shannon manipulating things because she was influencing Jessica to seek a relationship with Cannon or whatever. I mean, but now it's a little bit more tricky with how that works because it appears to be the case that Shannon and Cannon them two are at the very least one person. Whether or not Beatrice is also them, I think that is the case, but just by nature of Shannon winning and then both of them disappearing, I think it's supposed to be like a whole thing about them all combining into like one definitive identity thing of Shannon at this point. The important thing.
Also, hasn't Shannon, at least in this game, been the only one to say that she actually noticed changes? Because I know at the very least this time she was able to point out that like the windows had been moved and stuff, but none of the other servants were able to provide such concrete evidence.
I mean, yeah, that would just point towards Shannon being just spreading lies, probably, or just opening them herself.
I can't believe Shannon's a gaslighter. That's crazy.
Well, so one important key detail is we get like a little Battler quick flashback thing describing. What was it? His ideal woman, and it was just Beatrice, and and then all of a sudden the legend of the witch Beatrice and this whole portrait about her or whatever comes to life like years later. It's like, huh.
That was where my identity, like self-expression for Battler, fell apart because it seems like some of like those scenes in particular are not about himself; it's about somebody else. Probably shaping their image, whoever it may be, after Battler's desires and not Battler after his own desires.
I had a big revelation to myself during this reading and thinking about Cannon and Shannon. And I thought back to episode 1 and the discussions about Natsuhi not being able to get the one-winged eagle. I was like, why the fuck does Shannon and Cannon have the one-winged eagle?
Yeah.
And then now I think I understand it. Now I think I more, especially with the fact that they have these like different names than they're supposed to actually have too. They have Shannon and Cannon instead of Sayo and Yoshi something, Yoshida or something. Yoshia. I'm just like, oh, Shannon, Cannon, or whatever being they are must just be like some mistress child of Kinzo. Like just directly related to Kinzo in some way, and that's why they have the one-winged eagle, because they make a whole big deal. We see the whole scene about why Natsuhi can't have the one-winged eagle, even though Kinzo. I mean, that was all fake. Kinzo was already dead at that point, but it was like a whole big thing. It was like, why can't Natsuhi have the one-winged eagle? And it seemed like, well, it's because you're not blood related. But I remember they brought up the fact that Cannon and Shannon had the one-winged eagle in like episode 1 as like a thing, and not addressing why they had it to begin with. I didn't know if that was like a big respect thing at the time, but considering the fact that Nazi could not get it, I'm leaning towards that not being a thing. And now, knowing that they were probably just one person, I'm like, okay, so this is probably just a love child of Kinzo who, so they say that this person came from some orphanage place or whatever. It was probably the secret mansion, I'm assuming. And that was probably what happened there. They were probably just raised on the secret mansion and might have hung out with Battler growing up or whatever. I don't know. Those are my thoughts with that. Because I'm just like, why the fuck do they have the one-winged eagle now? Because I was reading back towards episode 1 for the Call of Cthulhu planning I'm doing related to that kind of stuff. And I was like, yeah, why did that happen? Why did they have that? So that was one thing that I came to the realization about. And we had the interaction happen where he's thinking about his ideal woman. Battler's thinking about his ideal woman. Jessica is crying about losing Cannon. George wins basically because he gets Shannon, I guess. Beatrice and Cannon are like ghosts now, I guess, just chilling out together. And Cannon is they're both trying to just help Battler get out of the room, which is supposed to be a whole thing where it's like, okay, well, somehow Cannon helps Battler get out of the room. We don't even have to get into exactly how that happened for the sake of argument. We could just talk about the fact that Cannon did help get her, not her, Battler. Well, there's one theory of ours says Battler's a her, so, you know. So anyways, Beatrice, what was it else about the backstory thing? I didn't know if it was like Battler just hanging out or if it wasn't Battler or what, but it seemed like whoever it was just describing Beatrice as the ideal woman, and then Beatrice became a portrait or whatever, and the whole legend got started. And I was just like, so is this just Shannon made this up, and then Battler came back and Battler didn't even recognize that stuff or whatever, and then Battler just forgot everything about that. Shannon was in love with Battler, and Battler just left for 6 years and then completely forgot about all that. Like, what happened here? Ideas running through my head with all that kind of stuff. Ideas. But then we get to a wedding. The next half of this week's reading was all a wedding. Wedding/debate. Of course. That's just how it goes.
Well, of course. You've seen Ace Attorney, right?
It is the
You played 5-9, right?
It is the magnificent wedding between Battler Oshiromiya and Erika Furude? They are getting married because Erika has won, because Battler is trapped in that room and has not come up with the logic to get out of it. And so he is essentially considered, Erika is considered essentially the winner by default because he's probably going to be trapped in that room for all eternity. And so they're getting ready to celebrate. Erika is gifted Battler as the gift. She makes him a special ring, which was in a weird fashion. Ryukoshi, what is going on in your head? It is
Ryukoshi's in some weird shit.
It is a ring that is, not only is this ring far too small for his finger, but they still get it on. And Erika is acting super horny the whole time about torturing Battler by putting this ring on. She puts the ring on, and it also has a mechanism where she can like turn the little thing at the top, the diamond or jewel or whatever, and it makes spikes jut out inside the ring and stab painfully into the finger. What was going on with Ryukoshi? What were we cooking there, Ryukoshi? I think
it's important to note, though, that Erika did not want to marry Battler. Like, when Byrne says, you should marry Battler and become his wife, she's like, what? And Byrne's like, no, I want you to torture him. She's like, oh my gosh.
Oh, there we go. Perfect. Oh, yes, bestie. I never thought of it like that. I could torture him for all eternity. Let me give him a nice ring. Hold on. I gotta go make a nice ring for him real quick. It's gonna be very special. She's like talking about how, I think there was literally a phrase, back arching pleasure until you forget all about Beatrice. I'm like, what is going on, Erika?
Oh no, there was a scene where like they were for sure like having sex.
Yeah.
Right.
So, all right, we get it. Erika is like, Battler's all mine now. I have won the contest. Battler's mine. Fuck you, Beatrice, loser. You don't get Battler in the end. Battler's all mine. And
Beatrice getting chucked. Can't you believe it?
I need to look at the AO3 fix that came out of that just to see the tag.
Not yet.
I know, not yet. I'm waiting.
And so, naturally, we all knew it was going to happen. Beatrice interrupts the wedding in spectacular fashion because now she has somehow unlocked the truth through her discussion with Cannon and is now essentially the old Beatrice we used to know. All the memories have come flooding back to her.
That useful.
True.
To be fair, he was very useful. Alrighty. Well,
Beatrice busts into the wedding. Several of her furniture are helping her make her way over to interrupt Erica, confront them head on. Okay, everything that the guards for the wedding are trying to do, it's just not working. There's no shot, no chance, not gonna happen. Beatrice is back in rare cackling form. Okay, and makes their way to Erica, and they have their own little truth duel
With guns, the
With
American
guns?
way.
based. How do we get into what we have uncovered here? So the main important thing was that we recreated the scene in the guest room. They have made it so that Canon has somehow broken out of the cousin's room. Erica has no explanation for how, and is already stopped there, essentially. They could just win there already. And yet, they tell Erica, no, we can just keep going. We could just continue. We could just continue ignoring that. We could just ignore that and continue on. Canon got out of the room, and Canon makes his way over to save Battler. How do you explain that? How do you explain what happens here? So, I'm going to make sure I get the details right for this. The story we're presented is that Canon makes his way over to Battler's room. Battler undoes the chain lock from the closet while Erica's in the bathroom. Battler comes out of the closet, undoes the chain lock, and Canon enters in and takes his place within the closet. Well, there was a little bit of an update for that because of Red Truth bullshit, I think. I think it was like Erica came into the room, inspected the room, no Battler. Goes into the bathroom, no Battler. Goes back into the bedroom and is ready to check the closet. I think at that point when she was in the bathroom, there was like some logic saying that Battler probably left the closet and went and hid like behind a bed or under a bed or something. So now he's back in the room or whatever. But okay, that's whatever. But supposedly Canon took his place at some point and is in the closet is where we lead it down to. And then we have the big reveal of opening the closet, and Canon is not in the closet. And so it appears as if they have won because Erica has no explanation for how that could have happened. How the fuck is Canon not in the bed? I think I have the answer though. I think as usual, I think I have all the answers.
All right,
okay.
let's hear it. Let's hear.
Okay.
Jeff Class.
We've established that Canon and Shannon are one person. Okay, we've already established this fact essentially. Not in Red Truth, sure, but the Red Truth that's shown there when the closet opens is just that Canon isn't in the closet. Okay, that could just mean that Shannon is now in the closet. It doesn't necessarily mean the closet's empty. They didn't say that there's nobody in the closet. We could have like a weird identity shift right there and then. Okay. Or a weird like DID thing going on where it's like they were Canon and then they took in the closet and now they're Shannon through that kind of personality swapping thing or whatever.
For the sake of political correctness, I really hope it's not DID something or other. But
I don't know.
It's more my personal desires than anything else.
But all I know is that I immediately knew. I'm like, they're opening the closet and saying Canon's not in the closet, and they're like making this out to be like a big deal. And I'm just immediately just like, okay, well, we're not saying that the room is empty. We didn't say that the closet is empty. They're gonna mean like a whole bunch of things. Just because you're showing me an empty closet, you're not saying that the closet is empty. But Erica loses with facts and logic, though, anyways, and then becomes the big confirmation about it. The big confirmation is that there are 17, including Erica. There are 17 people, which I think just confirms to us that Shannon and Canon are one person because it lowers it down to one less than what we knew before.
16, and then now 17, yeah.
Well, so here it goes back to one of the funny things I mentioned before, because I remembered, like, one of the episodes of the past, I mentioned, like, if it would have been cool, I think originally I had, like, thought, 18 people, that's like the number of pieces on a chessboard. No, wait, that's 16. There's 16 pieces on a chessboard. Now we've essentially gone down to 16 pieces on the chessboard, if you don't include Erica. So I'm like, oh, okay, so it all comes back together. I was always right. I was always right. My theories are always right. What can I gotta say? What can I say? So
we should never doubt him in his chess skills.
that?
It's 16. It's 16 people.
Not including
we're-
Erica. It's 17 if you include Erica.
Because we're running on the assumption of the Red Truth that Kinzo is dead.
Yes.
Yes.
Was there... I remember this being like a really big debate that Chap and I had the last time that I was here. Was there ever a
About-
Red Truth stated during Beto's games that could have argued, and like the Red Truth is now shifting because Battler is in charge of the game?
So that
Or
debate
was there...
that debate we had was specifically about whether or not Battler could be the culprit, which
Oh.
I had argued he can't be the culprit because we had Virgilia at some point say, you are not the culprit. This can be said of all games. Now, Arimia wanted to argue at the time that, well, no, that only counts for the previous games. I knew why. It's because they were going to pull some bullshit like Battler tried in this episode, which ended up not even being what happened, too. Battler tried to make himself the culprit, but he couldn't. He was not the culprit in the end.
It was there
He was
the
trying
whole
for the
time.
last 2 episodes to make himself the culprit. He really wants to be the culprit, okay?
Okay, so listen, all right? I'm just
So,
saying.
I guess my confusion is, are we supposed to be taking all of the Red Truths also stated in Beto's game, or when Beto stopped being the game master, those were all eradicated and were working from the ground up again?
So here's my understanding of these things. We have, well, I mean, I get a little confused when it comes to the number of people. What I do remember is the first time we had the update, we were told originally there are no more than 18 people on the island, which
Okay,
tells us,
that's
okay, there can be
what I
less.
was
That was the first one we were
wondering.
told. There are no more than that, which means there could be less than 18 people. And then we eventually update to there are 18 people on the island.
17.
I'm sorry, yeah, it was updated to 17 before Erica showed up. Then we updated to 18 as like a quirky
With
exception thing
Erica.
because Erica's like a special case in this because she was introduced as the detective, and so that's
okay,
fine.
so until the Red Truth of there are 17 people, the rule was that there are no more than 18. There wasn't you get what I'm saying. You get
Yeah,
what I'm asking.
Yeah, originally the statement was there are no more than 18 people. I believe that was. I'd have to look for my Red Truth writing scribblings.
Yeah,
there,
no,
but I believe it was.
I have it. It says there's less than 18 people, which means it could be 16.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So the numbers
Until
game.
now, when it's been stated that there are 17.
Yeah,
people.
so now we're because the way it's worded is Erica is trying to say, "Hello, nice to make your acquaintance. My name is Erica Furudo, an uninvited guest, but I hope you will welcome me in. I am the visitor, Rokenjuma's 18th person." And then Battler goes, "Sorry to break it to you, but even including you, that makes 17." Him and Beato say that together, and that's in Red Truth. So including Erica, that makes 17, which implies the new number that we have is that there are 16 people, not including Erica, that are a part of the story on the
We're
island.
trying to say there's some sort of imposter among us.
Specifically, Shannon/Cannon/Beatrice, probably.
/ Battler.
It's actually all Gouda.
It's all Gouda. It all comes back to
Gouda
Gouda.
this whole time.
Gouda/Gap. Yes, the Gap
Yeah,
theory.
exactly.
No. It was all Sekitaro the whole time.
True,
Gap
actually.
is Gouda's drag identity. That's
Oh,
what he does
okay,
in his
okay.
off days.
Here's the updated status at the end of the episode. I'll read this real quick. Kinzo Ushiromiya died before the game began. We know this. Kraus Ushiromiya alive when game called off, because the game was called off essentially once the locked room discussion happened. Natsuhi died on the first night. Jessica alive when game called off. Ava died on the first night. Hideyoshi alive. George alive. Rudolph alive. Kyrie died on the first night. Battler died. Rosa died. Maria died. Nanjo alive. Genji alive. Weirdly, in my copy of this, I assume it was like a typesetting error. Shannon's name is indented in the list here, and nobody else's is. Shannon and Cannon are indented together underneath Genji. Don't know why.
Under Genji, that's crazy.
So hold on, I'll take a photo of it and I'll post it in the chat and I'll show it on the stream. Because
I
in the
don't
in
check on my end.
so it might not be on your end because, like I said, it might just be a typesetting issue. But this is how they formatted it on the official release.
No, I mean, I'm just curious to double check if it's just
Ye-
yours.
Yeah. Let me post it. Hold on.
See, the thing is Ari isn't saying anything right now, so
I'm actually
True, that
looking
tells
for the
us a lot.
PS3 CGs. For this.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to find the wedding CG, okay? I've been waiting so long.
Okay, so I posted in spoiler. I will also put this on the stream so that people watching it can see what I'm talking about.
are you and I reading the same version?
We're reading the same version, I think, yes. Because you're reading the version that I linked you from the local library through a certain cat-sounding website, right? It was a special type of download that you had to do, and you have special
So
kind of
for your local
files on your
library-
computer, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then
Well,
yeah.
no, I don't have any suspicious files.
I understand.
yes.
We have the same version. Yes.
Okay.
Ours is the official version. They're reading the fan translation from their local library.
Yeah, I'm the one reading where Battler's birthday is August 15th.
So okay, as you can see from the image, it goes Genji, and then Shannon and Cannon are like weirdly indented inwards, and I don't know if that was supposed to be a weird typesetting error, but thought that was weird that it was them that was weirdly indented in for reasons. So that was the thing that was happened there. So what did it say? So Genji alive, Shannon alive, Cannon died on the second night. Goda alive when game called off, Kumasawa alive, and Erika missing after falling from pleasure boat. Just missing. Just missing.
Sorry.
So
Stay missing.
Sorry.
yeah.
The one
Pleasure boat.
amazing character.
Was what?
It's a cruise. It's a cruise.
Yes.
She was on a cruise.
It's not a sex thing, okay? It's not a sex thing, all right?
Well, given how Erica behaves, like
Listen.
I'm sorry for.
Oh, let me put this image on this. No, yes. What this image is called Episode 6 Wife Erica PNG. Is that what it was called? Oh god. Yeah. Oh no.
Oh my god, your
What
text
it was
is
what the
yellow?
fuck?
That's
It was
foul.
what the fuck Erica.jpg. Okay.
I
So-
killed all of them.
So I dashed all over the mansion, visited all the crime scenes, and I re-killed all of them. With a little smile on her face.
With a little smile. A little
And Battler's just all sweaty about that. What do you mean? What do you mean?
What do you
So,
mean?
Episode 6 is
Burn
where
my
is this
house
real?
down. My
Yes.
family's dead. What do I
It's
do?
Battler. Last
Bro.
episodes was Erica, and this one is Battler.
Was there?
These are
Was
chilling.
I didn't remember seeing a Battler portrait in this episode of the manga. Was that taken
This
out, or did I miss it?
illustration goes so hard.
So,
I would have absolutely
Uh,
talked about the Battler portrait if it happened.
so the portraits, like we see in episode 2, that like it actually updates to them,
Yep.
and then like in episode 3 it updates to Ava. After that, it's just more of a just a kind of traditional thing that it's just there is a portrait for that episode, but it's not necessarily reflected in the mansion. Because
Oh.
like you've got Anje's portrait, and then you've got Erica's portrait, and now we have Battler's
I
portrait.
just really like the idea of they updated the portrait. And now everybody is walking by this giant portrait of Battler. We're like, huh? Why did Kenzo commission this? Huh?
Wait, hold on. We got mentioned.
That was the other theory that we had too that I want to present to you, Andy. Okay.
Yeah.
That portrait and epitaph were brought up and established 2 years ago. Kenzo's been dead for 2 years. I don't think he had anything to fucking do with that thing.
Counterpoint.
What is your counterpoint? I was waiting to find out if that was the answer later on
Wait.
about something, but what is your counterpoint?
I'm trying to figure out what to say.
Oh, like,
You should probably say nothing.
While you wait.
I should.
Here,
What's
while
going
you
on?
wait.
I'm doing some checks.
I remember
I'm
from
doing
like
some checks.
a week or two ago, we mentioned the idea of actually Kenzo. He was very loyal to his wife. Okay,
He's
no
very
respect of
loyal.
woman.
He loves respecting women. He was obviously very loyal to his wife. Would never have an affair, ever.
Yeah,
Never.
yeah. definitely.
He loves women. Kinzo, we all know he loves women. Okay,
Maybe a little bit too much.
a little too much. He was picking up after Rudolph, you know.
No, Rudolph picked after him. What are you talking about? It's the other way around.
Listen, he got inspiration. He was like, man, my son makes it look so easy. Let me try it too.
And then he got Beatrice, and well, the results speak for themselves.
All right, so that was a theory that I had. Don't know if that is anything, will become anything. I don't know. But anyways.
Oh, wait. Hold on. There's one more thing. I remember Ken mentioning, oh yeah, Kinzo was actually just kind of cool when everyone was gone. I remember that being a panel.
Yeah, he was like, oh yeah, like the master and I would like plan
Play with
pranks
guns.
and play with guns. That too. I forgot about that part.
Like true Americans.
I think that I'm assuming that's what your translation said. Canon said that Kinzo taught him how to shoot. I think.
Yeah, let me use his guns.
Yeah.
He's very cool.
So, all right. I'm trying to think what we talk about next. So then we have like a whole sort of afterward scene after the wedding is stopped. Erica is defeated. They take the ring off of Battler. He is freed from that bullshit. Out of there with that. Him and Beatrice are back together. Cannon comes back to life. The whole family spawns. They're all happy for all the new couples. Ava's just like, Shannon, you better feed my son well. Make sure he gets all his meals every day. Plenty of meals. And Hideyoshi's like, hey, don't worry about your mother, okay? I love Hideyoshi.
I like that part.
Ava's just like, yeah, make sure to take care of him. And then, well, George needs a solid 7 hours of sleep each night, and it's the wife's job to scrub his back and clean out his ears. And Nazi's like, it is? I didn't realize. And Krauss is like, no, it depends on the family, Nazi. It depends on the family. and then Kyrie looks at Rudolph. Is like, are you properly caring for your wife, Rudolph? That was like, it was a nice little comedy moment with the family where they're all happy. Before you realize, oh, these people are all still dead. They're all still dead. So before you realize very suddenly with it going back to Anjay being like, I see. So you've written their ending to be like this. And then it cuts to her seeing a new update to how they discovered the bodies on the island. I say that loosely because it cuts to her watching the TV, seeing that the island had an explosion. That was how they discovered something had happened on Ushiromi or on Rokujima.
Wait, hold
I
on.
was wondering why it looked like that.
I was like, is it on fire? And then I looked into like what was written on the team. It says explosion on Rokujima. I was like, oh.
Wait,
I
Chef,
can't confirm. It was an explosion.
Chef, hold on. Wait.
What am I waiting on?
Something.
Yes.
Does this mean that there were actually bombs inside the cake?
That's what I was going to bring up. It was the cake bombs. There were too much. There was too much
They
the
had
cake
a
bombs.
little too much at the wedding party, you know?
They must have had a big fucking cake and a lot of bombs in them. I'm just saying.
Erica won in the end, is all I can say.
Oh God.
Killed everyone successfully.
It's that was a big thing. Because I was wondering before, and I think I had brought up in the past, I was like, how do we know? Did they say which bodies they found, how they found the bodies or whatever in the past? And we didn't really, the only confirmation we had was they found Maria's jawbone in one of the message bottles, I think. And they confirmed that it was Maria. And they were like, they're probably dead from the stater or something like that.
How the fuck do you fit a jawbone?
I
I guess
think
the
it
jaw's
was-
actually separated.
It was like some kind of jawbone was recovered.
In one of the message bones, but they did recover. They did recover one. But
I just
don't-
remembered reading about that at the same time of it describing the message bottle, so I might have just confused that detail. But they did recover a jawbone and confirmed it was Maria's, and so they had assumed with the state of how the island was, it was worded like the carnage that was there on the island, and the
explosion,
because it didn't necessarily confirm that they found the bodies. It just said the carnage there. And the fact that we haven't found
vague.
the fact that we haven't found any of the children, because it kept being like the children like went missing or whatever. They haven't found Maria's body or her relatives, and now we're told the reason is there was an explosion on the island, probably wiped out a ton of evidence, and they probably just assumed from that and other details of their investigation that they're probably dead. can't find their bodies definitively, or might not be able to fully identify them, but they're probably dead because I can't find anybody here. They found Ava, though. Ava survived. And that's why everybody else in the world is just assuming Ava was the killer. But there's probably reasons.
I have a question.
There's probably definitive reasons why the police have not accused her of being it. They probably have either a reason to suspect she could not have done it, or some other kind of factor with it, or like not enough evidence maybe. But either way, they were not able to do anything to Ava. So as far as the police are concerned, the case was never solved. And then later on, they find the message bottles describing the witches stuff, and that's where that story comes from. Right?
Ari, I have a question.
All right. What's your question?
And feel free to plead the fifth on this.
I plead the fifth.
So, red hair is a recessive gene.
No, you're not reading.
Okay.
You're not cooking there. You're not
into
cooking there.
that.
You're not cooking
I wanted
there.
to double check.
We got anime
Half
hair
these
logic going on here, okay?
These Ushiramiyas are a Japanese family, and half of them have blonde hair. You're
Yeah.
not reading into the hair colors. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I just wanted to
this
double check. It's something that I've
I understand.
Gray
I understand. I understand.
hair.
This is just anime hair logic going on here. It's just don't worry about it. In reality, they all have black hair. Don't worry about it.
If it had just been Battler, I would have been like, okay. But the fact that Battler and Anjay both have ginger hair, I was like, okay, hold on a second. And
Well,
I've been
that
that way
one-
ever since Anjay was introduced.
I did notice that, where I was just like, well, we did have the whole thing about Asuma's not Battler's mother, but Rudolph definitely doesn't have red hair, and Kyrie doesn't have red hair. I was like, does Asumu have red hair? But then we were told Asumu is not Battler's mother, so I was just like, well, fuck it, I don't know. But I was like, I was like, this is anime hair logic. Let me not think about it like that. Let me not try to do, because like, I mean, let me just not think about that. You know, let me just not. Especially if that was supposed to be a key to solving this, the manga would not have been a great place to have that be a hint for, when all of it is just shades of gray, except for the colored
that
covers.
Yeah, because Anjay was on the cover of the manga that she was introduced in, wasn't she?
But sure, but I was
So-
just like, I would hope that we are
No,
not
I
trying
see
to
your
give
point.
a key hint based on only the covers of the series, and the colors of the covers of the series. I would hope that
I
we're not
got
doing
you.
that. So, but anyways, yeah. So no, you're not cooking with that. Okay, you're not cooking with the red hair.
You didn't have to be so mean about it.
You're not cooking. You're not cooking at all. But I thought about it too. Is what I'm trying to let you know. I thought about it too. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I should just not. What if I just stopped thinking?
That's what I've been doing, and I'm getting yelled at for that too.
Think.
I was cooking so hard in the spoiler zone during last week's
It was
reading.
so interesting to read.
And then I hit
was-
the logic. I hit the logic
I think-
gate part of it, and I tapped out. Like I stopped being able to like think, have a deeper level of understanding of what I was reading. I was just like, oh yeah, this is a cool story.
I think-
for the rest of it.
I think I didn't read all of your stuff that you were typing out there, but I think I saw the notification a couple of times of you like saying this kind of thing, being like, this is probably gonna be this or whatever, and I was like, oh, they're gonna find out in like 10 pages that's absolutely not that. Oh no.
Oh no. Look, Andy's doing their best, alright? That's all we can ask.
Listen, we're cooking.
Ari said, what if it was a queer narrative? And I've been running on that ever since.
Well, I mean, again, the other thing that I had said in the last ones, when I had initially thought that Canon and Shannon were one person, we have George and Jessica and potentially Battler going after this one person. So, in one way, it has to be a queer narrative, if you know, because
Well, and were you seeing how Delanor was acting towards Erica?
well, I mean, yeah, that and Lambda Delta Burncastle. But I'm talking specifically about the Ushiromiya, like the real
if you're an
people,
inquisitor,
and not the
you have
meta.
to be gay.
That's true. That's true. That's just how that
Do
works.
you? Hold on,
No,
wait a
that's
minute.
fair.
Yeah,
Wait a
nobody told you
minute.
that, Shadow? Nobody told you that? It was a part of it. It's the law. It's the law. So anyways. But no, yeah, because I'm just like, I'm looking at like, okay, Shannon, Canon are one person. This is why only one of the relationships can work. So it has to be a gay on one side of it, right? It's either George and Canon or George and Shannon, but like
George and Cannon, let's get this
George and
Yo.
Shannon. It would be George and Canon and like Canon and Jessica, right? Or it would be George and Shannon and Jessica. It has to be like one of those two if they're like one of that person, right? Or
do you want to know something really funny?
what's really funny?
On AO3, there's more fanfics for Battler and Cannon than Shannon and George.
Base. All because Cannon helped him out of the closet. I understand. It's literally Cannon helped Battler out of the closet. I understand why all those narratives exist.
I still need to read that screenshot of a fic that I sent Ari that was a Battler / Ronove with the tags coming untouched. I was like, all right,
What the fuck? What is happening? What is going on with the Umineko bros? What kind of Umitober prompt is that? What the fuck?
I don't want to go back and look at all of the tags because spoilers and whatnot, but it was pretty funny.
Oh my god. Okay, so we have everybody gets their little happy ending. Everybody meets up. Okay, Beatrice is back in action. What was her name? Elder Beatrice? What do we call her? The other Beatrice shows up.
Elder,
Zepar and Furfur, they show back up. We discuss things a bit. Then we cut back to Anjay in reality talking with the Featherine. What was the detail with that?
Hachijo or Featherine, yeah.
I was just trying to think. It was like Anjay did not get the answers at all from that reading. She was like, "Where's my fucking answers?" I think.
Yeah.
And Featherine's like, "Well."
She's like, "This fanfic was shit."
Featherine was literally like, "Well, make up your own answers." I think it was what she said.
She's like, "Well, this is my answer, so make up your own."
Yeah, just figure it out.
I can't decide if I enjoy Featherine as a character because of how intentionally like I'm not telling you anything she is. I find it irritating. But like also she's hot, so I guess I can forget it.
True.
That's it. That's it's that easy.
Yeah, do you know us?
Chat, would you be willing to put the meme that Sieg sent on this?
I gotta go here. I gotta download a GIF. I gotta put this on screen.
Okay, with colors, Featherine is ugly as shit.
Damn!
That
Holy
color palette
shit!
is atrocious.
How dare
Damn.
you?
That's just rude.
First off,
Listen. I'll just say, what the fuck is going on with that scarf? I don't.
Why?
that medal is the only signal that she fought in a war that she does not even remember because she is so old that she cannot even remember. If she didn't have
All
the
right,
head,
all right,
the
listen,
thing, she would not even be able to retain her form.
Okay, lore
Which do you-
writer,
which do you
Featherine.
prefer
Okay, I
to
totally
look
believe
at?
all of that happened. Yes.
Which do you prefer to look at, the sprite of Featherine or the meme of Rona Van Battler? Which one's more visually
I put both on
appealing?
screen. Don't worry. Yeah. So
That's why
here's my thing. Okay. Featherine would be fine if we did not have this like weird green scarf going on. It's like puke green, and then we have like, and then we also have like what is this? These other colors going on too, and why are they like going on in like different areas?
Of the American flag.
I was like, what is going on here? I thought it like, oh, maybe it's gonna be like a pride flag thing with all the colors. I don't even know if that's what's going on here. What's happening?
So, I mean, I guess like it's just the gay flag if you think about it.
Is that what that's supposed to be?
Well, not it in and of itself, but she's got the red, the yellow, the green, the blue.
By the way,
and
none of
pink.
this. You don't see any of this in the manga. By the way, you don't see this fucking scarf in the manga.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think that she's hot in the manga, but like listen, remove the green scarf
No,
and
die.
Remove it. I would agree. Remove the green scarf. Why has it got to be puke green?
and remove the like weird striation thing that she's got going on, the red, blue, green thing. If it was just the dress and the yellow thing,
You understand? Okay, she's got 2/3 of the American flag. It's very important.
she's got ass sense of style, is what she has.
Listen,
Die.
I don't care what wacky backstory she came up for how she got that medal that she totally actually earned. Okay, that scarf
war?
that it's on is whack. Okay, what is this color? What is going on with
It's
that?
a stripe across the dress. That's even worse. Who the fuck would have a dress with a stripe like that? Like, I understand if the red.
Feathering
because of the
Augustus
cross-
Aurora.
because
That's
of the,
who.
like,
All right, you know what? You know what?
crossbody
I think I
kimono thing,
think
like,
I think the more we're talking about, the more I'm agreeing with Andy fully with this. I'm not digging feathering style in the VN. I'm not digging
Like,
this.
I would totally understand if it was just the red stripe, right? Because the top goes across the body, it's tucked underneath the sash, and then it would come down as like maybe a top part of the skirt or something. The other two stripes, unnecessary and ugly. They don't fit the color palette at all. There's no other shade of blue in her design, okay? And the only reason that they added the green stripe in there was because they needed the ugly green sash to make sense.
We
Why did they
need
just-
we need an Umineko fashion tier list. We need it. We need
I'm
it.
mad.
So,
Oh, we need to do a tier list for this
for who
episode.
the culprit
Oh,
is.
I don't know at this
no.
point.
So
Really.
we need to be doing. I think this would be towards the end thing. We should do a tier list of like favorite episodes. Probably each of us should do a tier list of like our favorite episodes. Probably.
Do I look like a bitch who remembers which episode is which?
Well, I'm assuming
that's
we're
a good point.
eventually going to get one of these episodes is going to go into a lot of detail about the intricacies of each of the past episodes, during which time we'll be reminded of what the fuck happened
You
during
know
each
what?
episode.
The closer we get to the end, the less and less likely I feel like that's gonna be.
Now here's the other important thing that you missed during the pre-show. Okay, we had discussed. I looked at the fucking cover of the next one. There's 2 new fucking characters.
Last time, it looks like because they look so much like fucking isekai fantasy characters. It's a completely different manga.
There's 2 new fucking characters, and they look.
Don't
Hold on.
worry
Where's
about
the-
them.
Where's the
okay?
cover? Where's the cover? I'm putting the
Don't
cover
post
on.
the cover. Don't post the cover.
I'm assuming they're probably more of the 72 demons of whatever
I-
that keep like occasionally cropping up.
Now, my
But-
assumption already, just look. I mean, you could post it and I'll put it on the stream just to showcase what we're talking about. My assumption already, just glancing at that cover and knowing what I know about Shannon and Canon, I'm just like, okay, whatever's going on with these two, it's metaphorically representative of Shannon and Canon. Immediately, I'm assuming this. I'm like, 2 new fucking characters, and they're both on the cover of this next thing after we just learned Shannon and Canon are one person, probably.
You know what it is? The blog looks so much like Saber, it looks like a Fate cover. And
Yes. Yes.
That's why they're my favorite character.
True.
This is the blonde is Lion and the brunette is Will. We will
wait,
meet them next
No way.
episode.
Bro, you tell me someone's named Lion? I already like them. I already like it.
Yeah.
Lion
I already
Ushiromiya?
hate
That's
them. What are you
an
talking about,
awesome
shit?
name for a fucking Ushiromiya character here. I can't wait for them to turn out to be a bitch.
Can't wait for them to be a furry the whole time, actually.
They're literally a Leo. They are a bitch.
Damn.
Wow.
Is it true though? Are they a Leo?
See, please tell me you're referring to Lion and not Feathering. Because if you love Feathering in response to all the design stuff, I might have to ask Chap to kick you from the server. Because
Damn.
that's just a bad take.
Damn. I'm gonna show this quickly on screen for the stream. We're not gonna discuss it too much, but these are the 2 characters we're talking about for the cover of the next episode. I look at these, I'm like, how are there 2 fucking characters again? We're supposed to be getting answers. We're supposed to be wrapping this shit up.
Literally,
You will get answers. Don't
it's
worry.
literally
It seems like there's
Saber
like
and
No,
Kirito.
shit. No, do not do this. No, do not do this to me.
It's literally Saber and Kirito. What do you want from
it's
me?
Saber and Kirito,
Dude.
true.
Do,
It is.
do
Wait,
not
hold on,
tell me
hold on.
Saber and Lion.
It's Saber and Kirito.
It's
No.
Saber and Kirito.
Wait,
That's
hold
why,
on.
that's why it looks so much like an isekai fantasy cover to me and not a new
Close
Umineko
enough.
cover.
Close enough. Welcome back, Kirito. Let's go.
So what you're telling me is that you and R that
What was that shadow?
so he tells me that Wolfborg and Ari have conspired together to make us read the Sword Online and great. and
Finally, that's the next thing we're reading for book club. I didn't tell you guys. We're reading a light novel. It's called Sword Art Online.
Please
I
don't.
want Twitch to know that Sieg just said in the anime book club chat, I'm pretty sure Lion has the same VA as Saber.
And I
So
just
it literally-
checked it, and they.
It's over. It's over.
Lion
It's
and
over.
Saber are both voiced by Ayako Kawasumi.
I can't believe.
It's
I can't.
all Neko arc.
I
It
can't
all
believe.
comes back to
Arimia.
Neko arc
Arimia-
is not Saber. Neko arc is Akuid, the Brimstade.
Fake fan.
From Tsukihime.
Listen. I can't say I'm surprised that Arimia's favorite character is the Saberface. You know, I can't. I'm not
Shut
surprised. I'm not
up!
surprised.
You know what, Chap? You know what that means? That means that Will is gonna be your favorite character.
Oh boy, let's
Forget-
go! I
Will
can't
is
wait
a
for him to
great
beat it.
character.
I can't
I
wait.
love Will.
I can't wait. He's gonna be an edgy gamer. Okay, he's a beater. He's a beater. Okay. All right, but that's for next week's stuff. Okay, what else did we have to wrap up this week? Because Anjay and Featherine had a whole discussion afterwards, and
It was
it
boring.
it was pretty much just Anjay's like, I thought I was getting answers, and Feather's like, well, figure it out. It's like, oh, okay. All right. And I mean, the whole thing was like, Featherine's like, I've given you major hints for you to discover your own truth now. And then they like leave, and Anjay goes to continue her side quest. I think
Which
it showed that this was supposed to be-
Andre is gonna get killed.
yeah, this was supposed to be before the end of episode 3. It appeared to be, or whatever episode was it, episode 3 or 4?
Oh.
Because
It would have been
the end of the end of
five.
episode 4, because this is the one where Anjay is introduced and had her whole thing. That's the one where it ends with her going to the island, having the interaction with her aunt, evil aunt, and them getting killed, and
By Bungo
potentially
Stray Dogs
Anjay being
guy.
killed. I don't
By
remember,
Bungo.
but
Rest
by
in
Bungo
peace.
Stray Dogs guy, and Bungo Stray Dogs guy has a phone call with the shady guy, who's absolutely shady guy, and Bungo Stray Dogs guy is just watching Anjay
I
keep
was-
tabs on her for shady guy.
I was sad when in the version that I was reading, he was like that diaper wearing girl. But then I was like, you know what? I should have expected this from the guy that we keep calling Bungo Stray Dogs guy. I don't know why I was surprised.
It's Bungo Stray Dogs guy. It's
That's
just
What's his
him.
name? I wanted to say Asumu, so I still don't know his name.
Amakusa Juzel.
Yeah, okay.
His name's Bungo
We'll
Stray Dogs
remember
guy.
it.
We're what? At least 2 episodes going into 3 past when he was introduced, and I still call him Bungo Stray Dogs guy. That's just who he is now. Can I get a chance?
They
a version of the manga
started-
where that's his name.
They started episode 6. We pointed this out too. They started episode 6 when they showed Anjay and Bungo Stray Dogs guy. They made a big point of saying Amakusa, like in the first bubble of their thing.
Yeah, I kind of glazed over that. I think they only actually said his name maybe twice in the entire episode.
Like, yeah, I mean, they said it at first because it was a whole like, oh, you haven't
Nope.
seen these characters in a while. Let's say them again so that you guys can,
Nope.
the reader can recognize them.
You're the
Bungo
one
Stray Dogs
coping.
guy, so.
You're just mad I call him Bungo Stray Dogs guy.
It's Bungo Stray Dogs
Sorry,
guy.
this isn't helping the fake Grand Order
Listen,
allegations.
Bungo Stray Dogs guy. Okay, we got Fate Saber next episode along with Kirito.
That would be so funny if I spent all of the next episode referring to them as Saber instead of Lion.
You know, there may be a chance we find Luis at some point. You know,
That's true. That's true. Who would be Louise at this point? Would it be Anjay or who would be the tsundere?
No, we got some more characters. There's more characters. What are we talking about? There's definitely more characters. Okay, this
Yeah,
is
but it has to be like a
tsundere.
tsundere. It has to be a tsundere
Oh, well,
character.
see, I'm thinking pink-haired. Is there a pink-haired demon, and we just don't know because we've been reading?
Don't worry, I'm
this
sure
one?
there's gonna be like 6 more characters before we get to episode 8. So that's before we get into what new characters are in episode 8. I mean, don't worry.
We got time.
Shannon is actually Kirke.
I could see it. Yeah. Wait, actually, no, I can't. Shannon's not as much of a bitch as Kirke was.
Oh!
Or at all a bitch as Kirke was. No, this one made
Well,
Kirke
okay.
hot. That one made Kirke hot. I don't say that as an insult, okay?
We know. Okay, we get what he's into. He's into the stepping on thing that was mentioned at the end of the last.
Wait, I don't understand. Why do you see Shannon as Kirke, though?
Big boobs.
That's it? Okay. So
Yeah.
she's Beatrice, too, then. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
And so is Battler. Bathurst Kikuri.
I was thinking like the personality, how they're acting. Like, yeah, they got big tits. So.
No. I was thinking specifically of the
Which,
scene
by
where
the way,
Shannon was laying on Cannon and went, "Oh,
that's true.
okay."
That's true. That's I was also thinking about too. Okay, when Battler's explaining his ideal woman, he's like, it's gotta be a big blonde one with big titties, and so I could grab them. It was like young Battler being like, I just want to grab some tits.
Yeah, very
I would like
young.
to say, as a lesbian, Beatrice's boobs aren't that big.
Damn. Without love, it
Not
cannot
by
be
this
seen.
artist.
Yeah. Oh, damn.
Shadow, what were you wanting
This
to
is a
say?
fledgling,
You said my
so-
name, and then
You're talking about so that's what kind of woman Shep's into. Like, yes, do you think there's a reason why I keep saying the line? It's a soundboard now, by the way.
True. We have a soundboard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was
just
actually
give me
kill
Hold on. Wait. We gotta play the soundboard. Play the soundboard.
Get you the kind of woman that will actually kill you.
There you go. We have
There's
we
a
have
reason why I keep saying
we have that soundboard.
in
have a
range
soundboard.
of Shep.
That's an integral meme for those of you who actually watch my streams that are not book club. There are so many of you out there. Anyways, we had the Tea Party memes afterwards. Burn Castle is meeting up with Featherine. Well, specifically finds a cat, kicks the cat, and then it turns into
so mean.
blobs of flesh. Don't understand, but it's like a weird, horrific thing. And then Featherine shows up. Featherine has previously been, I think it's implied that she was previously had a game against Burn Castle and is what caused the huge psychological trauma that has created Burn Castle these days. We had a whole explanation from Land to Delta.
Castle was a pond.
Something. Well, we had an explanation from Land to Delta a little bit about Burn Castle's past, similar to how Battler was stuck in the room trying to figure out how to get himself out. We had a whole discussion about, was it monkey at a typewriter theory memes, where it's like if you have
the Shakespeare.
Yeah, if you have a monkey at a typewriter infinite amount of time, eventually he will write Shakespeare exactly as it is or whatever. But it will be such an astronomically like rare occurrence that it will take forever, and for like a person to go through that, you would lose all semblance of like your humanity, you lose your mind and all that. And essentially, Burn Castle is the Witch of Miracles because they've achieved that kind of similar thing, metaphorically speaking, in their previous
She was able
game.
to find that perfect world
Right.
after trying for hundreds to 1,000 something years. I
Oh.
forget how long she was doing it.
This is a big detail I forgot to ask Andy's thoughts on. What are your thoughts on the idea introduced in this episode that all of the message bottles after like the first one or the first two are like all
First
fan
two.
fictions? How do you feel about that they're fan fictions?
I was already, by the time that was revealed. Okay, here's the thing. I have completely checked out on Anje's story at this point. Now that she's not directly
Dang.
involved with Battler, that's why.
Damn.
Like, look, if it's not my trans icon Battler, is there a point? And the answer is no.
Well,
So when it came to Angie, especially because like ultimately she never came to her own conclusion, it was like, okay, I could just like wipe all of that from my memory because it wasn't fucking important. It was just like
But it was. It was. If we're being told some of these are forgeries, then some of those stories like are not integral to the real mystery of the Ushiromias.
We've already been told the storyline that Anjay took, regardless of what those bottles said. So why add that detail? If she has her idea on what the story is, which we have been told several times outright by Featherine in this, or by Anjay herself in this version, that she has her idea, her thought of what happened on Rokenjima. Why even bother to say that all of these bottles are fan fiction if she's not even really like taking into account when she's like, this is what happened? Because she's so bent on what her truth is. There was no point to that. And especially if we're not going to even touch really on what the rest of those bottles were.
No, so like they're supposed to be, in my mind, all those other bottles are fan fictions that are supposed to try to be showing their own interpretation of the events as a way to hint towards what they believe is the solution of the events, I think.
Yes. And
So,
they're
like-
created by witch hunters, and Hachijo is a witch hunter.
So they're all supposed to be like different people's interpretations of like what actually happened on there in order to, because the first one had a note at the end that said like, you dear reader, please figure out the truth of what happened or whatever. And so these are bottles trying to explain their ideas of what happened or whatever. The other main thing that I try to keep in mind at this point, now that we've returned to Anjay's world again and see that these events are still continuing with Anjay's story, is Anjay and Ava surviving or whatever seem to be, to me, to be solidified like things in that Anjay's whole history and like figuring out everything that happens is like one thing. That's all thing. You can anything happen, whatever. Ava surviving is a key thing though. Ava surviving and still being a key, because Ava's survival is integral to Anjay as a character and how they've become. That's a key thing for me, because now that we've returned to Anjay, I'm just sitting here like, okay, so Ava does somehow survive the events on Rokujima. Ava does not actually die on Rokujima somehow. Does not reveal to people what happened on the island. Maybe she doesn't know what happened on the island, but she is not telling anybody at the very least, I guess. So that's a key thing for me. And I'm trying to think to myself, how did Ava survive? Because we were shown in the episode where it's implied she survived, and then we meet Anjay. That was episode 3, I think? Or was that episode 2? I think it was episode 3. Because it went Natsuhi's story, then Rosa's story, then Ava's story, right? That's
Yes.
what that's so okay. So Ava's story was she found the gold and then later on survived. And I'm trying to think to myself, because, you know, the epitaph and finding the gold and all that, a part of me wonders if, because now we know an explosion happened, a part of me is thinking that where the gold is located is probably a place that would have protected you from the explosion, and Ava finding the gold is how Ava was able to survive whatever explosion happened. What that means for where the gold is, I'm not sure. An underground thing maybe, but Ava, if we're to believe the fact that Ava did survive by looking at these events past then and how they have directly influenced how Anjay has lived since then and her personality and all that, being raised by, or neglectedly raised by Ava or whatever, I just have to assume that her finding the gold was an integral fact that is probably also solidified as like a true thing, but I'm not sure. Because then we also get into the confusion of the first 2 bottles are the ones that are signed by Maria, which doesn't necessarily mean they're signed by Maria. It means that they're signed by the same person who is believed to be Beatrice.
Yes, that was confirmed that they were signed by Beetle.
Right. So they wrote it as, like, they signed their name Maria, but we know that whoever wrote it must have been Beatrice. And that's like the one detail that we got from that. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, okay, so did Ava only survive because they found the gold and whatever the gold is what saved her? Or does finding the gold mean you can cause the explosion and you can leave? I don't know what happened there. But I would just remember when we started this and then we got to, like, you know, the afterwards where it's like, oh, the message bottle was found later on and explain this thing or whatever. Anjay's like, we don't know what happened to my family. I'm just thinking, like, did they find bodies? What's happening here? And then now we know it's because there was an explosion of some kind. It probably fucked with a lot of evidence, and they probably just did a lot of assumptions of them dying, but didn't fully know for sure. No red truth for some of these things, probably for them. But yeah, this was all a tangent to get into, like, Andy's thoughts on the fact that there were fan fiction writers continuing the story. I liked it as a meta concept too, being like somebody writes this like narrative of like a mystery thing, and then somebody's like continuing it on completely unrelated, trying to like do their own interpretation of it. I thought you would have liked it too because you're AO3 fan fiction kind of stuff. But
one of my narrative
I guess I was
studies. Okay. Number 1, I don't think Anjay's life is concrete universally. I think that's a fragment.
that's fine.
Number 2, me personally, and this actually came up in my Discord server yesterday, I think writing fictional stories about real people is really gross. So obviously, like, it's the idea that it is within a manga, but it's giving like true crime girly podcast.
I mean, that's absolutely, yes. That is absolutely what this is. Yes.
Oh, like, I don't think that's interesting. I think that's really gross and creepy.
Yeah, that's exactly what Anjay feels. She's like,
Yes.
why are these people creating fanfic about my family, my
So
dead relatives? Is this funny to you?
And also, like, I knew that we probably weren't necessarily going to go into what a lot of those other bottles said. So I was like, okay, like, I guess that's information that's there. But unless somehow we come to the conclusion later that the bottles are directly tied to the games that we've all read, then it's not a detail that I need to focus on. Number 3, and interestingly enough, that actually, the concept of like people continuing a story was something that was brought up in my narrative studies class when we were talking about the story of Don Quixote. And there, like, historically, there's kind of a question about whether or not, if you're reading a piece of derivative work, but that character, you have a different mental model of that character because that character is so fundamentally different from the original character, then at what point does it no longer become derivative and like become original or something like that? I did that reading a couple weeks ago, and I have not been holding on to information from that class well, but you saying that just made me think of what I was reading from that textbook.
No, yeah, that makes sense. Because, like, it's also kind of a question of, like, localization, you know, because a good translation and localization is not typically a one-to-one translation. It's something where it is a creative process where the translator will inject new parts to the story. Now, whether that is, like, to kind of localize jokes that wouldn't really work in English, or if that's to change some kind of references or things, or even more further along translations. But, like, at what point does it become super derivative of a work rather than an actual representation of the work?
Right.
And that is also akin to the essay that I was supposed to start writing yesterday, and I didn't because I was reading Umineko. About
we do not endorse that here on the Anime Book Club podcast. Okay, we endorse doing your homework first. We endorse that, but yeah,
we endorse doing your but the essay I have to do is like take a story that has like been told frequently in your family and like essentially like contextualize the
interpretation
situations.
thing, or? Oh, okay.
Sort of. It was like contextualize the situations that it's been in. So based on who was telling the story, what the story is about, and in what context the story is being told, how is that then relevant to the people in the story? Or for me, I'm using a story about real people in my life. So how that story or that situation applies to the people that were like in that story or whatever. I'm definitely working on my essay. I promise.
Yeah.
So it'd be something like if one of your family members had an old story about that time they met Bill Murray or whatever, and your recontextualized would be like, I met Bill Murray, but like in a supermarket instead of like out on like a movie shoot or whatever. Is this what this is referring to, or was?
Yeah, sort of like. If
like to see how that would change how the story goes if you meet him when he's on a movie set as opposed to in a regular situation. Yeah.
If you had a family member that met Bill Murray, would they bring it up only when they were watching Bill Murray, like movies with Bill Murray? Would they bring it up when people mention other actors? Like, under what context would they bring it up? And then when you then tell that story, because like like you can say, oh, I have a family member that met Bill Murray. Why did that come up? Did it come up because you're talking about your family? Did it come up because people are like, oh, like I'm related to this famous person? You're like, well, I have a family member that met Bill Murray or something like that. I think that's really what I'm supposed to be going towards, but I haven't started it, and we're doing peer reviews on Monday, so I have a little bit of time to figure it out before I got to work on it.
Listen, one time Bill Murray stole my fries and looked at me in the eyes and said, no one will believe you, and then walked away. This happened. This really happened. No one believes me when I tell them. Okay. That's all interesting to think about. That was the one thing that I really liked about that. It was just like there's a lot of different thoughts you could come up with related to that idea as a concept. That was one big thing for me. And so here we have Featherine speaking
Ultimately,
to.
I just feel like it's not an important detail.
What was
is
that
my
saying
end
that again?
feelings. Ultimately, I just feel like it's not necessarily an important detail, is my end feelings. So I didn't
Okay.
feel very strongly towards it outside of what Anjay was feeling.
Right.
Because I wasn't like retaining it as something that I needed to have a response towards.
You
Unlike
sound.
Erica's weird putting the ring on his finger.
You seem like you just don't like Anjay's story at all.
Well,
This is-
because I don't think it's real. I don't think it's true.
Hater.
I think that we're gonna get to a point of like some fucking like time shit or whatever where we're gonna get to the point where it would branch off into her story, and that fragment is gonna cease to exist because Battler was able to like turn the tables to lead towards another version of Anjay that has no recollection of this because that's not how it turned out. That's how I mean, like,
really?
you know.
You just
Yeah.
hate that she's cis.
I think I was viewing it the opposite way than you. I think I was viewing it as like eventually Anjay's story has to become the true thing, and so Battler will have to disappear, and then we're gonna have to reconcile with that kind of thing.
Well, I want Battler to live, so.
Well, I understand that, but you know, there was an explosion on
I
Rokujima,
want him to
Andy.
live, but
Battler
want
sure
Battler to
wanted to
live.
live. Yes, he definitely did.
I don't know about that. I want Battler to live, and so I'm going to believe in the ending where he does live, and for now reject the ending that Anjay is presenting in the hopes that that's what I get.
Well,
I'm not necessarily saying I believe myself. I'm just saying that's what I want, and so therefore that's what I'm choosing to hold on to.
well, the message
And
that
as a result, I don't think the bottles are important.
Well, the message that we're getting here at the end is Featherine's like, just figure it out, Anjay. Go do
Sure.
that. Anyways, I'm going to go talk to Burncastle. Hey, Burncastle, I want to see your answer. I want to see your story. And so now it seems like Burncastle's going to be... Burncastle seems like they're going to be in charge of episode 7.
yes. So episode 7 will have us. Burn is the game master, but it's not quite a game like Beto's and Battlers because there really isn't an opponent anymore. It's just an answers check.
supposedly...
Finally, an answers check.
Uh-huh.
So she will be assembling a game board where they
Right.
can do an answers check, and she might need a little help.
Right. Which is important too, because supposedly there is no other like actual player or whatever, because supposedly Battler and Beatrice have won, metaphorically at the end of
Allegedly.
episode 6. And so
Is Delanor coming back?
Not
you'll
in this
find out.
episode, sorry.
I'm quitting the book club. Bye, guys.
But we
Damn.
might get someone else who knows Dlanor.
Delanor too?
Okay. Follow-up question: do any of the other artists give Gap titty and ass pics? Because if I don't get more Gap titty
Oh
and
yeah.
ass,
Oh yeah.
let's go.
Oh yeah.
Ari's just sitting here like, no, they don't at all. Oh yeah, they totally do. Yeah.
They absolutely do.
Please,
No,
this is the first time that it was actually loyal to Gap's sprite, and I loved it so much, and I want more of it.
You will get more of it.
Yes.
You know, it's only just now occurring to me that it's very easy to please Andy.
You're just now figuring this out.
Oh, hold on.
Look,
What
I'm
was
just ignorant.
what's one of the top tags on Familiar of Zero? Oh, etchy harem. Yeah, all right.
Look, Nyan, I
Much to
choose
think
to be
about.
willfully ignorant, okay?
Yeah, you do that often. I need you to start thinking. We need thoughts here. What are your thoughts, Shadow? What are your thoughts about this week's stuff?
The cake had an explosive flavor.
True, very explosive.
True.
So now I understand the
That's
memes.
where they hosted the Great British Baking Show, and it went really
I always
wrong.
thought it was just a quirky meme. I didn't realize, okay, they literally had a gender reveal party on Rokujima and it went wrong. Very, 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 very wrong.
Very, 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 very.
revealing the child
And the gender-
of the child that Nafsaki
Yeah,
killed.
and the gender reveal party was over whether they're Shannon or Canon, you know, which gender they wanted to be, probably. I don't know. Or So
Okay, hold on. I'm hung up
So-
on something that you said earlier in the stream.
yeah, what's that? What's that?
You
'Cause
said
I have a thing to bring up to you after this, but yeah.
Okay. You said that we know for sure, quote unquote, that Kenzo has been dead for 2 years. Is
Yes,
that
that was
Yes.
said in red.
that was
Yes.
said in red? Okay. That's all I needed.
The one thing I was confused about whether it was exactly 2 years, but it seemed like because we knew that Kraus was dead. I'm sorry, not Kraus. We knew that Kinzo was dead,
I wish
and
Kraus
Kraus
was
and
So-
Kinzo was dead, and Kraus had said that they had pretended that he was alive at last year's conference, implying that he was dead before last year's conference too.
Yes. So it's
So-
about 2 years.
Yeah, which made me think, okay, with how it lines up, they said the portrait and the epitaph were established 2 years ago. So I don't know if Kinzo had any fucking thing to do with the portrait, or if that's at all what Beatrice is supposed to look like. But yeah,
Does that mean they were able to cover up possibly explosive chemicals by claiming Kenzo's
Probably.
use of the occult?
true, probably, maybe.
That or Kinzo was just a really good cook.
I mean, again,
What?
Somebody
Who's
was not a
balls?
good cook, clearly.
I mean, again, the reason why I brought up the whole thing about the portrait and them and the epitaph and them having nothing to do with it is that it goes towards whatever weird plans Kraus and Nazi are trying to come up with to get out of their current situation where Kinzo is dead and they need him to stay dead long enough for Kraus to get his ass out of
Stay
the dead.
alive.
Because he has signed away all of the Rokujima shit over to not just Rokujima, I think all the Ushiromiya wealth over to them as like
Over
collateral
to debtors, yeah.
to like to
So-
like debtor people.
If we're running on the assumption that Beatrice is something created by Kraus and Natsuhi, does that mean Kraus and Natsuhi already knew the location of the gold? Or
So
are they
the
just making shit up?
so the idea would I mean there's a couple ideas with that. One, it could be that they do not know where it is, but they what was I trying
They
to
know it
think about?
exists. They mentioned this in episode 1.
They know it exists and they
Yes,
know
Kraus
hints about
knows.
where it is, but they do not know the exact location. So perhaps the epitaph is like an either a thing that was already given to them by Kinzo that they just made a more formal thing, or they put in the hint that they knew within that and then added in some other stuff and hoped somebody would solve it, and then nobody gave a fuck, so it was never solved. And so, or it was
It
meant
was Kinzo's will. I don't know.
it might have been. The other thing too, though, was, and we saw this in episode 5, the whole, because that was the one where it was really focused on Kraus and Nazi trying to hide their shit. Battler finding the gold, and then immediately the letter showing up being like, oh, Battler is now the head of the place. I'm like, okay, so this is Kraus being like, okay, we gotta make him the head without like letting them see father because father's dead. So we'll just leave a little note here. He'll find it. He's the head of the house. Maybe they put some shit somewhere and we're hoping somebody could find it so that they can make them the head of the Ushiromiya for some dumb reasons to get out of the debt, being like, well, technically speaking, now he's in charge now, so it's not our debt anymore, or some dumb shit. I don't know. There's a number of things, but the key, typical Kraus logic, but the key thing here is that it seems to me that the portrait and the epitaph, which might have been influenced by whatever story Shannon might have said or spread or told to Kraus when like he was looking for inspiration for it, perhaps, if Kraus was even responsible for it. I mean, Kraus has to have been. If a giant portrait was put up, that can't just be something that Shannon just hung up and said, yeah, we'll just leave this, right, guys? Like, it has to be.
The Golden Witch left this on the doorstep.
I don't know where it came from. We'll just act like it's a Kinzo wanted it, right? Yeah. So in my head, Kraus and or Nazi has to be involved with setting that up. It has to be integral towards whatever weird way they want to try to get out of the debt or to distract the family members. I don't know what the deal is with that, but it's probably related to that kind of stuff. Probably has nothing to do with the murders, and yet we are being presented with murders that happen according to the epitaph or similar to the epitaph. And so the question becomes, is somebody copying those murders, or are these murders now I begin to wonder if these murders are not even happening at all, like we're being shown, and it's all just they all died in an instant explosion, and none of this was like a thing. There was no like weird locked room mysteries at all. It was just an explosion happened and then somebody was like underground and survived. You know, I don't know.
It was
But
Kinzo's body in the boiler. You said that you had something else you wanted to ask me.
It was related to. Fuck, what was it related to? What were you talking about when I said that? You were talking about.
I was asking. It was right
portraits
before
and-
I had asked about whether or not Kinzo's 2-year death was confirmed, but it was after we had finished talking about the bottles, and I said Erica's story isn't real.
I can't remember. And it's gonna annoy me.
Sorry.
It was an integral thing. I
all
think.
what Chep thinks.
It was because I talked about the Kraus stuff. The Kraus stuff was important. Was it about Shannon? It might have been about Shannon. It's always about Shannon.
When I think about Shannon, she's hot as fuck.
It's true.
Is this true?
It's in red.
George is like, I love Shannon because of her boobs, and I mean her personality, maybe her boobs.
No, you see, I mean her boobs. You want me to kill someone? I'll kill someone.
Yeah, I'll kill my mom. You want me to kill my mom? I'm gonna kill
I'll do it
my
right
mom.
now. I'll do it right now. I'll do it right now.
Our family.
I already did. I already killed her. What's next? What do you need me to kill? Moon tourism? We can do that.
Like-
We can do that.
Like they clown on Battler and his taste, but at least he's open about it. George is just very thinly veiled. Like, I like her for her personality. Her personality.
Oh, it must have been about something from the weeks you weren't here. So it must have been an early thing that happened in this episode. And it
Episode
was-
6 before the Logic Gate debate, which I didn't realize that was all this reading.
Yeah, it was
that
a long
crazy.
thing. Because half of this was the logic battle, then the other half was the wedding. And then there was like a little in between was the Shannon Cannon fight. God,
Okay, so while Chep thinks about that, hey Nyan, you remember what the incel George, or did we not mention that yet?
You have
Incel
I think I
George,
mentioned it
yes.
in my reading, where I said can't believe George was an incel, but we have not talked about it.
Very funny.
He had his
The first
incel
thing that
moment.
Battler
See,
done.
that's how I know for sure George is only into it for her tits.
Because this is all Battler's game, so all of the pieces he is directing, like even in the meta world, that's still going by his plan.
That's how he sees George. Battler sees George as an incel, and he's probably right.
I
A
think
piece
he's
can
right.
only do what a piece can do.
Hey, listen.
No.
Battler has discovered the truth of everything, okay? And the
'Cause it
truth
wasn't-
is that George is an incel.
It wasn't like Battler was saying, "Oh, George isn't as cool as me." It was him and Jessica. So it's not like Battler's like sitting there inflating his ego. He's pointing out the differences between him and Jessica and George.
He's like, Mito, do you see this? I understand the truth. George is an incel. That's
Very-
the
very
truth you wanted me to
integral
get, right?
Also George saying thinking that like Jessica and Battler never gonna get anyone.
Yeah, that unfortunately I think that my thoughts on George have dropped this episode because of that. Some
All according to Battler's plan.
I still like George.
This is all just anti-George propaganda. That's all Battler wanted to do.
Literally.
True.
Anything else you stall with what Chep thinks about this?
I'm not trying to think about that anymore. There was another point that I was gonna segue into that was not related to the thing that I was trying to think about, and now I
Okay,
can't even
are
think
you
about that
go
either. I can't think about anything anymore. You guys have stopped me from thinking. I'm not allowed to think anymore.
That's how I felt after reading for like 2 fucking days straight. Because I think yesterday also when I was reading it, I worked a 9-hour shift. So for 9 hours I was at work reading Umineko. And I was fried by the end of it. It was so bad that I wasn't able to like maintain coherent conversations with people in my server. It was rough. And I'm pretty sure most of that was this week's reading, so that was something.
Okay, how do we feel about the fact that Battler was completely useless this episode?
It's completely useless.
That's to be expected.
Like I was like, again, and I mentioned this towards the beginning. I was like, this is supposed to be Battler showing us he understands everything. I don't feel like he understood anything. I feel like he literally only
understand his game. Okay.
It feels like he only understood one thing, and that's that Shannon and Cannon are one person, and then that was like it, and he didn't think about anything else about how to plan his answer because he's just like, all right, there'll be some victims, but they won't actually be dead. They're just gonna play dead, and then I'm gonna look like I'm the culprit. That'll be a really quirky way, and then nobody will die, and then this will be my answer. And Erica's like, what if I just killed them all? He's like, oh shit, you could do that. Okay, well, what if I do this? No, you can't do that. What if I do that? Like, it was just a constant stream of Battler trying to do something.
Erica does a lot of nonsense,
and Erica just being like, actually, you can't do that. Actually, that's not how that went. Actually, I had to put the chain back on the door. And it's just, why? And it felt like it was all of that, and then Battler was just like, okay, now I'm comatose. Now I'm getting forced married. Now I guess Beatrice will save me. And at what point
Battler might have been sexually assaulted as a kid.
I mean, it might be possible, but at this point, I'm just like, it seems like Battler just failed at his game. I don't know if he actually understood anything about what he was supposed to figure out, except that Shannon and Cannon are one person.
See, I didn't think about that almost at all because so much of my reading is trying to parse through the different levels in the moment.
You were too focused on trans femme Battler, we know.
Aren't we all?
And Shannon.
Why am I even here? Why did you invite me back?
So, as Sieg in the chat says, there is a big theory that all of this was part of Battler's big brained giga chat.
That's cope. That's cope. That's cope.
Okay.
That's cope. That's Battler cope.
He's
Okay.
like, okay, I've arranged this so far so that now the only person who can save me is Canon. So I just gotta.
That's the kind of shit I would say to be like.
Figure that out, and then that'll make her revive, and then I'll have my wife back.
That's the kind of thing I would say when I'm completely wrong about something. I totally planned for all of this to be exactly like that's the meme kind of thing I would say on stream.
Once she unblocks my number and gets her memories back, the wedding is back on. Okay.
Yeah, totally, Battler. Yeah, yeah. Don't worry, buddy. Yeah. Twitter will become a better platform, Battler. It'll get better over time, Battler. Don't worry. What I'm trying to get is there's a lot of cope going on here. A lot of cope going on. And,
yeah, here it's Ari said, let's pretend. I'm reading through what I sent to see if maybe I could find something that I did have a thought on that I could mention. Right here it says, let's pretend for a second that maybe if it were possibly a queer narrative, what that might mean for the story. I've checked out on everything else. It's just a queer narrative to me. I don't know if I have the media literacy.
Oh, there's a lot going on. There's a lot.
I love. As soon as she gets the chance, she immediately starts referring to Battler as her husband. Immediately. Like, next line, as soon as that ring is on her finger, she's like,
yes.
Thank you for helping my husband.
Yep. Oh, I remember what I was going to bring up. How did you feel about the Erica backstory stuff that we got? We got Erica backstory for some reason. About her cheating ex,
yes,
and how it drove her insane because she did not have the red. Supposedly cheating because she did not know for sure because she does not have the red text in reality.
You will never know the truth.
That was weird for me because I didn't understand why we were getting into such detailed backstory over Erica. And I had tried to think about it in terms of like the fact that she does not have the detective's privilege at the time and being like, does that mean that she is just representative of an actual character involved with the story now and is an actual like human in the human world and was actually on Rokujima at the time or something? I don't understand why we're getting hyper specific with Erica's past. I sort of am okay with us getting into this like backstory stuff for Burn Castle to like paint how she's going to craft her version of the answer. 'Cause in my mind, Burncastle's another one of the fan fiction writers. That's in my mind what's going on there. Burncastle and Lambda Delta are like the fan fiction writers from the message bottles or whatever.
Well, part of the backstory we get in episode 6 of the part that Lambda says, it's just all from Higurashi. It's literally just the Higurashi.
So I mean, that was the thing too. I was like, if there's supposed to be just inspirations from that, why are we giving such detailed backstory for them too in this? I was like getting confused by that. So I was trying not to think too much.
He likes his OCs, okay? He likes reusing his OCs.
You cannot be presenting me a hyper-specific meta-mystery narrative where it's integral to know the backstories of all these people for core secrets and then just drop me your OC lore in the middle of this bullshit. You can't do that.
Newsflash, this entire thing is his OC lore.
Listen, with that logic, listen. You can't drop your OC lore on characters that have no fucking like bearing on the actual mystery. You can't do this shit to me. This is like if we're like, okay, this is the sailor who dropped off Battler on October 4th. Here's his backstory. Here's how he met his wife. Here's like where he goes every day. The one sailor guy who brought him over there on that day. Like, Ryukishi, please, just, I understand. You want to cope with these other characters. You can't do that when you're trying to tell me that there's a mysterious person who's involved with all this shit too. I'm supposed to be like, is this person that person? I don't know who's who anymore. Now we're being told Shannon and Cannon were one person the whole time, and I'm just like, was anybody on Rokenjima when it exploded? Was there even a storm? What is happening? I don't even know. I don't even know anymore what is real anymore when it comes to any of these things. The only thing that if I am to believe that the Anjay stuff are actually real events afterwards, it solidifies what facts the outside world knows about what happened there, then the only facts that I am led to believe is that 1, there was an explosion on Rokenjima. 2, they found a piece of jawbone of Maria at some point. And 3, message bottles were found, which are signed by somebody who is probably representative of Beatrice within the story. What that means, I don't really know. But we do know that those message bottles were signed by somebody who has internal knowings about what's going on there on the island, and matches a signature that was within Maria's diary. So these are like the facts that we know, and that Ava survived somehow. These would be the only facts that we definitively know, and we are just working through based on those and what was written on the bottles that were signed by Maria, trying to decipher what actually happened there based on this information. So with that in mind, I'm just like, literally most of these episodes and all these characters and all their personalities and stuff, like, for all we know in the end, they could probably just not have mattered at all. Or none of them, like I had theorized before, there was a theory I presented where nobody actually died. They just faked their deaths to get out of debt, because all of them are in debt to somebody, and especially Krause has put their whole family in debt. So I was like, did they just fake their deaths and now supposedly just make a giant explosion and just disappear from that? And if that is the case, why did nobody try to go back for Anjay? If that was what happened? Because I don't know. The only thing that we know is that they have Maria's jawbone. So did Maria at least die? I don't know. I don't know anything.
Can I can I answer the question that I was asked regarding Erica's backstory? Well, you asked me what I thought of it, and I never got a chance to respond because you started fighting with Ari.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I was interrupted. I had to fight.
I was going to say that I want to preface this by saying that I have fallen into the similar trap that Anjay has, where I've been given, if this was a queer narrative, what would it be about? And that is the lens through which I'm viewing the story. I have my particular thoughts that I have not explained. And that is how I'm perceiving the events of the story. So with that in mind, I
took Erica's backstory as a reason why she is homophobic. I was being completely serious when I said that she's transphobic.
True,
Internalized homophobia, exactly. That's why she never was able to reciprocate Delanor's feelings for her. So in as succinct a way that I can put it as possible, the way that I read the story is that the love required to see magic is just the belief that people can control who they are or their identity, or like the ability to like say, okay, I'm going to transition from being like male to female. Erica having such a foul experience with this love, or this like metaphorical definition that I've given it relating to sexual or gender identity, means that she has lost the ability to have faith in what may be queer parts of her personality. And it was presented as she had a bad experience with a guy. If we just ignore the fact that it was, like, if we assume that it was not just that, it was not just she had a bad experience with a guy and now she can't feel love. It was she had such a bad experience with how somebody perceived her that she now does not have the emotional flexibility to understand who she is, which could also be a part of why she takes on the role as the detective, who is only supposed to be analytical. She is only Burns' pawn. She is essentially what other people tell her to be, because she lacks the love that is able to give her the magic to define who she is. Were my thoughts on her backstory.
So when you phrase it like that, in my head, I'm immediately thinking like Erica is representative of, metaphorically, somebody who reads narratives and tries to basically cinema sins the whole thing, being like, actually this thing had to be like this thing had to be like this or whatever, and so therefore they have ruined their experience with the narrative by not letting themselves just go through, the narrative. They're like trying to nitpick and like find it. Like in her case specifically, it's shown to us that like she has this suspicion about her lover cheating on her, and she will never have an actual answer for that unless they come out and say, yes, I was cheating on you. But if he's not cheating on her, she's just gonna have that doubt in her head with how she is, because she does not have that red truth. And so she is like representative of like people in media, just not like, or consuming media and not just enjoying the story. They're thinking too much about it to a hyper specific level. Is this in line with your kind of thoughts?
I would say so.
Okay. That's an interesting perspective.
Like, ultimately, the hard part about, like, what did you think of XYZ? Number one, I think too much. Number two, I don't think at all. Number three, although I'm always like, I'm just taking the story at face value, because of the lens that I've adopted for myself for the story, I'm not just taking things at face value. So I can't say this is what I think is how it relates to the story, because I'm always thinking of how it relates to the motif that I have created for myself. Hence why I mentioned being like, I've accidentally created the trap that Anjay put herself in, where like I have this one like truth about what I think the story is about, and now I'm just relating all of that back to it. Which is why I also tend to point out in my readings, like, okay, like this fact is going against like my belief of the story. This fact is going against that. This fact is going against that. But like at the same time, like I have this structure in my head that unfortunately, because I am a little bitch, I'm not willing to give up on. I'm not willing to let it be deconstructed by evidence. Because this is what I want the story to be about.
Wait, Nyan, you forgot number 4. No thoughts had empty.
Yeah.
True. It's interesting.
I have so many thoughts that they cancel each other out. It's like, imagine those TikToks that you get that are like super satisfying, where every single time that a ball leaves, 3 more balls spawn inside the circle that's like rotating. Every single time that one thought leaves my mouth, 3 more spawn in my head. But like they can only come out so fast. So they're constantly duplicating and going so fast that I can't perceive all of them. So then it just cancels out and becomes null. That's what's going on in my head all the time.
So it all comes back to familiar zero?
Yeah.
It's interesting to think about that kind of stuff, because when I read Umineko and we get to like the fantasy action parts, the whole time we're reading those in my head, I'm just like, okay, but none of this happened. This is not what actually has happened. There's not some big fantastical fight going on. Gap is not teleporting people around to drop kick Jessica from the sky. This is not what's actually happening.
Maybe if you
here.
weren't homophobic, you'd actually see that she was drop kicking George from the sky.
And
like,
I will.
when I'm reading-
I'll read this and I'll see them say like, "Oh, all this is happening. This is how the fight looked." I'm like, "This is not what happened. Just show me what the body looked like in the end." But then it's also trying to bang over my head the phrase, "Without love, it cannot be seen." Okay, you just can't see that these are the events that are happening because you don't have the like love of the fantasy, the story that could have happened with this. And I'm just like, okay, but that's not what happened. People are dying here. We don't have time for people died.
You don't have time. I do.
I think that's why I teeter so often between I have so many thoughts and I have no thoughts. Because when those cool action scenes or like Gap come on screen, I like I enjoy I read the story and enjoy it for the story that I'm reading, right? Like when those action scenes come on, and I mentioned Gap as a joke, but like I'm specifically thinking of the fight between George and Gap, like because that was one of the really big ones where Chap was like, okay, like I did not need to read all of this, like just show me the body.
Yep.
I really enjoyed reading that for the sake of simply reading it. You know, like seeing all those cool fight scenes. That's actually like that particular fight was a really big inspiration for a final project that I'm working on in my figure drawing class right now. So it's those situations where it's like, okay, like I can just like let myself read without having to analyze it. But then like you have the sections where like you're focusing on the dialogue and you're trying to understand what's going on. Like if you, I feel like you, never mind. That was
my thoughts on those is just like the action scenes do look cool. I'm not denying that. I'm not saying they're boring scenes at all. I'm just saying when I'm reading them, the whole time in my head, I'm just thinking, okay, but this isn't what's happening. I'm trying to like dissect it because we're also being presented with a narrative that's not only showing us these cool, fantastical action scenes, which are drawn well, usually, depending on the artist, that's also trying to be like a whole, okay, but there's a mystery going on and you have to solve it. And it's 8 episodes wide or whatever of how deep this mystery goes and all the different characters and all their interactions with each other. And what is this metaphorical of? What is this representative of? And I'm just like, okay, but you're stopping all this to show me an action fight scene, which if I find out later on with the answers of what actually happened there and how it happened, does not match up in a representative way towards what the fuck I saw. And that was all just fluff. I'm going to be annoyed with how much time that wasted, despite how cool it looked, because the point of how this is framed is that you're supposed to be solving this. And I feel like that's a tricky thing for me to get past, where like a key thing about this mystery here is the insane amount of misdirection that it loves to do. It's not just one of those things where it's like, here's a hint that you're not picking up on. It's, here is a thing that you are being shown happened, but it did not actually happen like that. And you have to intuit that that's not actually how it happened. And when you have that, and then you also mix in these fantastical fight scenes, the whole time I'm thinking, okay, this isn't what happened, but what actually happened, show me the dead body at the end, and maybe I can deconstruct what metaphorically happened with the fight. And then at some point I'm just like, why am I bothering to metaphorically figure out the fight? Why don't you just show me the dead body so I can get on with the actual mystery that you're trying to present to me? And like, I don't know how that makes me feel about my experience with Umineko, because the whole time I'm just like, okay, I got it the first like 5 times it's happened where we were shown something and it's absolutely not what happened, and then we're told later on with the Red Truth meme or whatever that actually the thing that you thought you saw was not actually what appeared there at the time. And now with the big detail of Shannon and Cannon were actually one person potentially the whole time, I'm just okay, all right, so we're doing this the entire for like 6 episodes. We were just making it look like there was an extra person there when there wasn't. I'm like, okay, all right. You know, it gets to a point for me. It gets to a point where I'm just like, some of those action scenes where I'm just like, why do I read some of them? I get that they look cool, but just show me the body. I don't know.
Which is
Hater.
valid.
No, hater.
I think
it's not just hater.
I
okay?
think
It's not.
that it's valid. I felt that way reading some fan fictions. It's something that you run into with people who don't have an editor. One of the biggest things that editors will
No,
tell
that's
you.
no, that's completely different.
One of the big. Okay, let me finish for fuck's sake.
Damn.
Jesus.
Easy, everybody. Easy. Continue.
One
Continue.
of the biggest things that editors will tell you when they're looking at a manuscript is to cut down. You really, like, when you're if you're getting officially published, right, and you're working on a manuscript, you want to give the editor like everything that you have, so that the editor can then go through or help you go through or go through and cut out what you don't need to be saying, right? And I noticed this a lot. The reason that I mentioned fan fiction is because I notice it a lot in fan fiction, because a lot of times fan fiction isn't getting that like professional editing. You'll just get what the writer made and like dumped on AO3, right? So I feel like saying that there's a lot of fluff that felt like it could be, like Chap said, maybe cut out or ignored is definitely a valid criticism. That's why I'm not just saying hater.
I feel like
my thing is just I need it to be explained. Like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I've had so much fun going through all this. Like, I'm enjoying myself. But I, like, at the end, I'm going to have them spoon feed this to me. I'm so sorry. Because like, I
which I'm sure they
not
will
gonna be able to get to these conclusions on my own.
I'm sure they will. We took a peek at how lengthy the next 2 episodes are with some of the volumes, and they're pretty lengthy with some of them. So there's plenty of time for them to go through each of the things that they need to explain. The thing that oh god, I had another thought in my head from what you were just saying, and now it's lost again. Oh god. God damn it, I lost it again. You were talking about things. Say words, please.
I was just responding to Sieg, because Sieg said the magic scenes do help you understand the story / mystery / characters. And I was just, except for Cross versus Goku, that's just for fun. And I was just typing a response because I thought that you were gonna talk. That I think the thing with the duels a lot of times, and this is typical in all manga, but obviously like important in Umineko in particular, is that there's a lot of exchange of dialogue, which I imagine would be definitely more present or more noticeable in the visual novel of how much dialogue is happening in those action scenes, because it's, from what I can tell, the visual novel is pretty like dialogue heavy, right? Whereas the manga is able to rely a little bit more on those illustrations. Where was I going with this? Oh, the characterization that you're getting from that dialogue from those characters is definitely beneficial, but I also think, from arguing from Chav's perspective, those conversations could be had without the insane cinematic fighting. Now, obviously, it would be hard to properly contextualize those arguments, but it's just like I can see the value in, as of where I am right now, without knowing the ending and knowing the characters and knowing where all of this is going. As it stands right now, I can see both the benefits and the drawbacks of, like, okay, like, yes, these fight scenes are important to developing the characters because of the dialogue that's being exchanged, but that doesn't mean that the fight scene necessarily has to, go on for like 2 or 3 chapters, or sometimes even like start in one volume and end in the next,
Okay, I remembered my thought. My thought was related to, I had wondered if perhaps my opinion on those action fantasy fight scenes that will happen would be changed if I were consuming things like live when the VN was releasing, right? Because the VN didn't all just drop at one thing. They released like, what was it, like a couple episodes a year or something like that? How did the VN release its episodes? Ari?
I want to say yearly at Comic Cat. I don't know the exact schedule. I don't think it I do not know. It started at Comic
but it did not drop all at once, and it gradually, like,
No,
over time, released episodes. Is my thing. Okay.
Yes, it
So-
dropped episodically, where it was very much built on trying to get the readers to discuss with each other.
Right. So perhaps my opinion on those scenes and not appreciating them as much is because not only are we doing it from the manga, but also because we are doing it with a schedule of, you know, going through about an episode every 3 weeks, you know, like,
Blitzing through it, yeah.
so I feel like that would also affect my opinion on it. Whereas if I was instead consuming it of, okay, this is this year's episode that has come out, and you can consume that, and the episode's gonna have some fight scenes in it for the people who like or the action stuff, or the people who like the fantasy action stuff, but it will also be like mystery in like its own way, like the log stuff is all in there. Like, it would be a whole different thing with that in context, I think. And the pacing of reading it as it's releasing too. Whereas if I'm reading all of this as like, okay, we're going through like each episode every 3 weeks or whatever, it's like a whole different thing where it's like we're getting more of the fight scenes in rapid succession than you probably would if you were playing the VN like that. I think. I don't know. I don't know, but yeah.
So.
Also, how are they portrayed in the VN? How are they portrayed in the VN? Is there like action CGs with them, or?
Umineko is 150 something hours long, and the only CG in the entire visual novel is the Toho Jessica scene from episode 2.
So, like I said, it's very dialogue.
Okay.
It's very narrative driven, and it's a lot of just throwing the sprites everywhere. Okay.
All right. Listen.
He did not have a lot to work with.
Listen, if Ryukishi can do it, you can too, viewers. Okay.
The other thing with the read time that you mentioned is, a lot of times when I'm consuming media, I'm seeing it as if it were a movie in my head. And obviously, like, I'm actively pursuing a degree in animation. Like, I'm going to have a little, like a little bit more, you know,
more of an eye for it, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. If you think about it, those fight scenes that are taking fucking 50, 60, 150 some odd pages are probably, even in an anime, only happening in a matter of like 2 to 3 minutes, realistically. Padding it out with the dialogue, obviously. It reminds me of something that I have a friend, Violet, who can't watch fight scenes that don't have dialogue in it because they'll tune out.
I do that. No, I agree. I agree. I do that too. If I'm watching, I'm just like, just get me to the next part so we can go get the MacGuffin, okay? Because nothing is happening here.
So I think that an important thing to take into account is just the fact that those fight scenes are not happening in the same amount of time that it takes you to read them.
Right.
Which I feel like is why oftentimes, like, unless you're really stopping to enjoy the art, which sometimes I do, you really can just skim those and get the dialogue, which I mentioned is most likely the important part because of how dialogue heavy the visual novel would be. And ignore the whole gimmicky magic or whatever is happening.
Look, this is how they look in Umineko, okay? Just the black.
A cross counter has 4 times the destructive power of normal punch. This is common knowledge in the boring world. In the boxing.
Boxing!
This is the Kraus punch scene?
Yeah.
This is a Kraus punch scene? This is just...
It's a double cross counter.
We get a soprano scream? What is this?
This is also common knowledge in the boxing world. So yeah, it's again, another thing that was talked about in my narrative studies class is taking into account how the temporal experience. So there's a lens through which the characters are experiencing things, a lens through which the narrator is experiencing things, and then a lens through which the reader is experiencing things. For the reader, it can vary depending on how long it takes you to read, but that, I think, is something that should be taken into consideration when discussing not even just fight scenes in Umineko, but fight scenes in any piece of media.
Okay.
Now, I do have to clarify, when I
Yes.
say that there's no CGs in Umineko, I mean the original version of Umineko
Okay.
with
Yeah.
Ryukishi's sprites. The later versions, like the PS3, the console versions, those have the nice artwork that has been updated with
I see, I see.
CGs as well. I
Right.
posted some of the CGs for episode 5 here as well.
Okay.
Way up at the top.
Yeah, the
That's
wedding
fine. That's
stuff.
fine.
Yeah, like the wedding one.
Yeah. Well, of course, I would, was more asking towards the original one because I was like curious if, how that would change my. But apparently,
It's just a lot of narration.
I mean that's super interesting and awesome to think about. That like you don't even need like that intense CG art for this kind of narrative to be regarded as like a classic like peak fiction visual novel series. I think that's pretty cool. And it also helps with it being like released yearly at like Comic Cat or whatever. That's also a pretty cool thing for that too.
Yeah, that is the
You
one thing
guys-
though that people, new devs try to argue. Like, well, Umineko looks like this. It's like, yes, but one, you're not right. You're not making Umineko. Two,
You're not
did
him.
not-
You're not making a groundbreaking revolutionary.
Two,
visual
if you
novel.
want to make Umineko, you have to make Higurashi and Rose Guns
True.
Days
Yep.
first.
Yep.
You cannot make Umineko just out of the gate. You have to make all of those beforehand.
Yep, because that was like a huge drive to, and I'm assuming Higurashi also did not have like intense CGs though, right?
No, Higurashi's same kind of artwork. It's episodic, so it was 8 episodes for the original run. Then Rose Guns Days, I think, is 4 episodes.
That-
and that's probably over a million words each for them. Not per episode, the series.
That's very interesting
Okay,
for me
I was
to think
about
about.
to say Jesus Christ.
I think
like I don't even
Umineko
think
is like
Homestuck is that long.
Umineko is over a million.
That's very interesting to think about in context, where I'm just like, oh yeah, Higurashi wouldn't have CGs either. The very gory horror series does not have any of that on screen, probably.
Yeah.
All right, so
It's been quite a while, but like
which puts into context more why these are more referred to as sound novels.
yes,
because
the
of that,
focus was
okay.
very much on the sound and the sound effects, and I think Umineko has like 50 something music tracks.
Right.
The music list for it in the game is like intense.
I mean,
Yep.
pop off. Make music if that's what you're good at, and leave the art on the back burner.
Well, I think the story I have heard is that he wasn't good, and he was so bad at it that a composer emailed him and was like, "Look,
Please let me
music is
fix your shit.
let me do this for you."
That's even funnier.
That's the story I've always heard. But like, there's multiple musicians attached to the current Steam release of Umineko, so.
Do you guys think if I sent these VODs to my professor, she'd just give me an A in my narrative studies class?
No, I don't think she
I
would.
would. If you are
Yeah.
Andy's professor listening, give them an A so they can keep reading Umineko no Kokoroni.
No, yes,
Hold on,
please,
hold on.
please send this to your professor so they can hear you say, so I didn't do my essay. I went to read Umineko instead.
Okay, genuinely, the thing is that I had to have a meeting with her at like 4 p.m. yesterday. And like discuss the topic of my essay. So number 1, I was supposed to have that essay written. Number 2, she knows I didn't have the essay written. And number 3, she knows the reason that I didn't have the essay written,
Oh my
which
gosh.
is she's a mandatory reporter and I can't tell her. Anyway, I mean, I'll write the essay probably, maybe, if I don't play Pokemon Rumble this
Yes,
weekend.
no,
Who
you're
knows?
going to write the essay.
I make no promises.
You are going to write the essay.
There's a
Andy,
couple-
Is this
there's
red
We're
one
done
dress?
here.
Pokemon Rumble. What are you
Yes,
talking
talking
about?
I'm saying this in red. Andy will write the essay, whether they like it or not.
Shadow saying, what are you talking about? Pokemon Rumble? I thought we finished that. What's going on?
So, you can tell we've been doing this for 3 hours, man. I'm at my wit's fucking end.
No, this
Hold on.
this is how Shadow finds out you guys are playing Pokemon Rumble from the beginning. Okay, you're starting over. All right.
No.
Hold on. All right, Shadow, you're trying to say something? What's up, Shadow?
Speaking of dialogue during the action scenes, how are those calculations during the Jessica and
Yeah,
Kyrie?
Okay.
It's just narration. It's just her going, Kirie has been envious for 7 days a week.
What
Counting
did you
for
think of
sleeping,
that,
that's
Andy?
about 20 hours a day. The times at 7, and then
Andy, what did you think about Jessica going to kill Kyrie and then dropping math logic in the middle of the fight?
I thought that it was goofy, but looking back on it, I think that that's kind of interesting because of the context that a pawn can only do what like the person can do. Hold on, I'm going somewhere with this.
I understand.
I
Okay,
know, keep
I
going,
understand.
keep going.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning of the manga, the thing that it of the entire series, the thing that is hammered repeatedly is that Jessica's grades are not that good. So it's interesting to me that we're being presented with this almost opposing perspective that she is actually quite good at math, or at least application
So she's
of math
flunking
in
on
real
purpose.
time,
I see.
in real life. And why is she failing her classes if obviously she can apply it?
So
I will come to her aid though in that theoretical math like algebra sucks butt, and I did get a C the first time that I tried to do algebra 2.
Wait,
Yeah.
hold
So I'll give
on.
her that.
So what you telling me is the truth that Battler figured out is Jessica's actually good at math.
True.
So this whole
True.
thing was Battler trying to show that George is an incel and Jessica's actually kind of smart.
Yeah.
True.
And George and Jessica are actually also both Beatrice.
Based. You're Beatrice. I'm Beatrice.
George
We're all
loving
Beatrice.
Shannon for both complex reasons, and also Jessica loving Canon for surface level reasons. It's all just Beatrice finding ways to love herself so that she can be seen with love. Because, other people can love her and she can be seen, but what about self-love? Did they ever think about that?
No, we don't think around here.
Same.
Beatrice, Beatrice, please, Beatrice, notice me. Okay. Did we have any other final thoughts in here? Because it seems like we're on our way to... Oh, one other detail, because now we have Burncastle is going to be running our next game that we're going to be reading about, episode 7. But also, we're seeing the fucked up evil side of Featherine. Oh, she does have... I'm seeing it now. She does have the little scarf thing in this scene with her and Burncastle. She has the scarf. It's not puke green, but you see the metal.
We can feign ignorance.
That's why it's easier to ignore.
Yeah, because it's not puke green. It's the colors that ruin the drip, actually. Yeah, unironically. The colors ruin the drip.
Yeah, it's the colors.
But yeah, so we already knew Burncastle was fucked. Now we see Featherine is also fucked. And the final, bit before they start it is a close-up of both of them doing evil witch laughs and saying in creepy text, "I prefer the company of monsters instead of witches," when they're drinking tea. So yeah, Featherine is doing a little evil things too with her stories a little bit. But I mean, Featherine was also just flexing anyways. Featherine's just yeah, I just enter all these contests under pseudonyms. I just win all of them. I'm just that good. So I guess I'll solve your family story. I'll write my own fanfic about it, and you figure it out, Anji. I'm not actually going to give you the answers.
She didn't, put it out into the public. She kept it to herself. Very mindful, very demure.
Showed her the manuscript.
She did not do that for episode 5, though.
She showed Anji the manuscript. There's still time for her to publish it, though. There's still time.
Wants to see if Angie approves.
Yeah, she wanted the proofread, and now she's gonna make adjustments based on Anji's comments. Yeah. Oh, also, I find it very interesting. They're trying to do chess notation here in Burncastle D8.
Okay.
Burncastle goes picks up a pawn on the board. He goes, first placement, Beatrice, D8. Let us now examine what a chessboard looks like real quick. Let us now, just real quick, just humor me for a moment here, okay? Just humor me for a moment. Okay?
I don't need to, because D8 obviously means date.
Oh, true. Okay, now as you can clearly see here on the Wolfborg stream here, okay, D8 would be where the black queen is located.
Get a little chessboard here.
Now, if we are to assume the piece in her hand is a pawn, and it is moving to d8, that means this pawn is getting promoted to a queen.
Yo.
It is either that, or Rikushi does not give a fuck about chess at all, and we just wrote a random notation. We have just wrote a random notation. It does not say Beatrice is taking anything at d8, by the way, so as of note. So it just means a pawn is moving to d8. And this either means Beatrice is being promoted to a queen, or Rikushi doesn't know shit about chess. He's just a fraud.
Googling.
Battler taking her estrogen.
True.
That's the promotion.
Exactly.
Anyway, it's actually all just about being trans.
True, actually.
The whole
Well,
thing.
this was the thing I meant to bring up. Okay, so ages ago, all right, this was the thing I brought up last week when we had the discovery of Canon and Shannon being one person potentially.
Uh-huh.
When I read back to episode 1 for some details from my Call of Cthulhu campaign planning, the one thing that I noticed, because I was trying to look at it again from that perspective, and the main thing was that Battler had met Shannon before, but it was his first time meeting Canon. And so I had thought to myself, perhaps, Canon/Shannon was trans and was going with Canon as their identity, being that Battler is now meeting Canon for the first time. Or a DID thing. I don't know. But it's something to where, like, Canon is introduced as a new person to Battler, but if they are one person, what does that do towards what was happening in episode 1? What is the context for that? I was trying to think about that, because Battler hasn't been there in 6 years, and he returns and he's meeting Canon, even though he knew Shannon before. So what's going on with that? I don't know. So that was one thing.
God, I so hope it's not DID.
I don't know. Maybe.
Wait, hold on. Speaking of, I remember Andy was going on about Battler having DID. There's actually a way to prove it, theoretically, okay? It requires 2 things. One of them's a closed room, and the other one, Chef, would you like to take a guess?
Straight jacket? Sorry.
Oh, damn. I don't know. What's the other thing?
I'll play spaghetti.
What is this a reference to? I know this is a
What
reference
are we
to something.
talking about now?
I assumed Undertale.
This is a reference to something that I don't remember. What is this a reference to?
Yes, Ed.
Chaos Head. What does that have to do with spaghetti? Oh, I remember now. Yes, you're right. One of the routes for Chaos Head is this woman who believes the main character has DID and his other personality has been doing the series of murders that's been going on and killed her sister. And she's so obsessed with this idea to the point where she traps the main character in his shipping container for days, where he's like handcuffed to like his bed, can't move at all, in pain, and she's like force feeding him spaghetti so he doesn't die for days, waiting for another murder to happen, because if one doesn't happen, she knows that he must be the killer. So
Yeah, it's normal.
So it gets better, okay? Because we all know that Battler we know in love? Question mark.
I love Battler. What do you mean?
Okay, whatever. Okay, he would never eat a plate of spaghetti. We very well
true,
know.
We know
true.
He'd never eat a plate of spaghetti, but whoever Gluttony is would.
Exactly. That's what we solved it. Okay, that's how we figured the DID.
See, I basically have this fan fiction, this eating disorder fan fiction already planned out in my head. We're gonna get to the end of Umineko, and I'm just gonna ignore all of that and write it the way that I planned it anyway.
Base.
Which is, I don't know. It's dumb. It basically just assumes Umineko didn't happen. It's just Battler going to the island and fainting a lot. Anyway, I would like to be freed now. Please.
Yes, I will wrap this up. When the seagulls cried again, none were alive. Now, right before we wrap this up, I'm going to read the afterword from Ryukishi, which we haven't had an afterword from him in weeks, actually. I was missing him. I was missing him laughing at us. And the afterword goes, Episode 6, Dawn of the Golden Witch. Accelerated Storytelling. Hello, I'm Rikushi07. This is the end of Episode 6, which was originally published alongside Episode 5. Perhaps those readers who were following them together are startled by the sudden leaps in the story. 2 Beatrices, Anjay, and Featherine, and the disappearance of Erica. All this crazy stuff happened, and yet it's still not the final story? That's right, there's more to come. Stay tuned for the continuation of the manga edition of Umineko When They Cry, Laughs. On a tangent, when I was first writing this story, I had an idea that since Anjay would be Featherine's Miko, she could actually wear a traditional Miko outfit. That never materialized for various reasons, but when this manga came around, the staff said to me, if you don't do it now, it'll never happen. What's the harm in asking?
That's a threat.
However, with all the new characters involved, I felt if Anjay showed up in a different outfit, it would only increase the reader's confusion. So we have once again lost that opportunity, laughs. And to think, I had the chance to see Momoyama-sensei draw Anjay in an even sexier version of Hanyu's outfit from Higurashi. What a shame. Okay, nobody cares about Ryukishi 07's fantasies, laughs. With just 2 episodes left to go, I hope you will let your imagination and theories run wild as you head into episode 7. May you find the truth that will satisfy you. I believe that Hinase Momoyama-sensei, as with Higurashi When They Cry Massacre Arc, has brought the original story to life with even greater clarity and aplomb than before. Thank you so much for your wonderful work. Be sure to pick up the Higurashi manga too, everyone. And so that's what we got there. Now, that story about the Miko outfit for Anjay, the writer, the artist did do that for one of the bonus meme comics here, for like one of the panels. And I think they like wrote a note somewhere. It was literally like, he wrote it, I had to draw it. And so, oh, the bonus meme comics, we're not going to spend too much time on those, but there is most of the recap comics for this episode, to say again with Andy here now, were like all these cutesy little recap comics. I like the cutesy little recap comics. I think they're very fun.
There's a lot of bondage.
There was in a couple of them.
I didn't read them because I had so much.
That's fine.
fucking
That's
reading
fair.
To get through.
That's fair. And when
And
you
I
get a
was reading it
chance,
all in one go. So
when you get a chance, you should check them out. They're just fun little recap comics of like each of the chapters, and they're told by like
I did see
different
Gap,
characters'
though.
perspectives. So like they're pretty
obviously,
funny.
I saw Gap.
That's
always
where
see
I
Gap.
got that one image I posted of Beatrice saying, "Battler, were you completely useless this time?" Yes, he was. He was.
That was the one with the. Was that the one with the footstepping thing that I took a screenshot of? That was from previous weeks.
Was that the Erica being stepped on by Burncastle one?
Yeah.
Yes, because that happened. That was where fledgling Beatrice was watching that with Battler, and then fledgling Beatrice thought that she should do that to make Battler interested in her, while also still calling her daddy. So. Or father.
Oh my god, yeah.
Right?
Father. Very different.
Very different. Very different.
AO3 investigations that need to happen after this is I'm not going to say one of them, but the other one needs to be how much daddy kink shit there is. I'm curious, but I can't look up anything.
You're not allowed. Not allowed.
Don't do that, Ari.
We are free. We are finally done with episode 6 of Umineko When They Cry.
No, on to episode 7.
Episode
Finally,
7.
an answers check.
Which
There will be an actual answers check, but there may be more questions that Vern brings to the table.
Oh,
Now
What
that
if
she
I
is
just
the
start
game master.
crying?
now
I mean,
here
this is When They Cry, so that would be appropriate.
yeah, true. Now here's a quick little preview that Andy also missed out on that we were discussing in the pre-show. Episode 7 and episode 8, their omnibuses are 3 volumes long each. And
Chunky as hell.
so, like, the first batch is the first 20 chapters. So we're reading 20 chapters. And the omnibus in total is like 830 pages. So, Godspeed, everyone. Godspeed. So I think after this first one, they even out to like 600. But like the first ones for each of them are like 800. So
this
luck.
next, I already read.
Honestly, the 40 the chapter count on Annie List is like, oh, that's a massive jump.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, but we'll see how it goes. So
No,
So just keep in mind for the reading for next week to allot yourself plenty of time. Try not to shove it all for the last day because you might have a difficult time getting your reading done in time. That's my main warning when it comes to that one. So for next week, we will be discussing... Oh, also, wait, I had to clarify something because Miko said she will not be here one of these weeks. What's the
Next
week
week.
that you're... Next week. Okay, what do we want to do about that? Do we want
I
to...
don't know.
Because we can meet a different day, but the question is what different day do we want to meet on?
I'm on break that week, so I'm fine whenever.
I'm fine to
no,
meet whenever as
Saturday?
well. Was what Saturday?
Saturday or
Saturday.
Sunday?
Saturday, Sunday should work for me for next week. Next week is the 26th, 27th.
So the 26th or the 27th. I'm free
Yeah, one of those days I should
Saturday.
be good.
Sunday I stream Minecraft.
Okay.
I mean, unless we do it on Sunday during the day.
Maybe I think I lean towards like doing them at night, but we'll see. I can coordinate. I'm pretty sure next Saturday or Sunday we can do it, but the only thing to be concerned about with that is that we're going to be meeting the Thursday afterwards still too. So just keep that in mind. It means you'll have less time for the reading for the week after that. So we'll try to go for the Saturday.
But more
then.
reading for more time for this one that you said is like longer, and then they taper off a little bit. So
yes. So we'll try for Saturday. I'll let you guys know if something changes in my. I have to double check something to see if I'm doing it on that day or a different day. But if it is Saturday, it's probably gonna be at night on Saturday. So we'll see.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So we'll.
Because I would be so sad if I missed episode 7.
Right. Yeah. I don't mind rescheduling it, but also it's just a whole thing of I don't think we should try skipping weeks at this point because otherwise we're gonna be going into like 2025 still reading Umineko. So. Because we still have like Halloween and I think Thanksgiving is one of these two.
Yep.
To
Yes.
do. I mean Halloween I'm around. I don't know how Thanksgiving is for people though. But
honestly, Thanksgiving probably not. My family dinners tend to go really late.
That's
unless
fine.
I can convince my mom to let us take 2 cars.
That's fine. That's another case. So we could probably move it to a different day for that week. That
Maybe
is
later in the night.
well. So specifically. Thanksgiving is supposed to be our last meeting to discuss Umineko, so it's probably better that we do it on a Saturday anyways. Right?
Yeah, like an all like
because Thanksgiving is the 28th, right?
Oh yeah, then we get a break week. Yeah, so
Let me look.
Because we're also gonna because we said we wanted we said we want to do Umineko the finale episode thing, and then we also want to play Golden Fantasia. I don't know if we want to do that in the same thing or like a bonus stream afterwards or like a different like in the week in between. I think we said the week in between when we're not reading we're gonna play Golden Fantasia, but we'll see what happens with that. All right, but that's where we're gonna wrap it up for this week. Any other bonus memes or thoughts, concerns before we wrap this up? What are we hoping? What are we hoping for here, chat? What are we hoping for
it's
here?
some goddamn answers.
You want some answers? Okay, you're gonna get those answers. Are you gonna like those answers? I don't know.
I don't want it. I feel like the explosion would be a cop out. After all this, they just died in a big explosion. That's dumb.
Well, the explosion in my mind, it's probably, I would hope, does not mean that the mysteries of the murders like weren't a thing that happened, because it's most likely that the explosion was meant to cover up the mysterious circumstances in a more like formal sense, but that you can that there are still like mysteries going on there, and it was just to cover it up. And probably Ava did it. Ava probably did all of it, and they just don't have the evidence anymore because she blew it all up.
I think Beto did it.
I know you do because you're a witch. We know you do.
Yeah.
So does Beto like pay you every week to give witch propaganda?
I wish.
Okay.
I might be paid in Ushiromiya gold.
Ushiromiya
It's basically
gold?
just a paperweight, though. Like, yeah.
I have a proposal.
What's your proposal?
Uh-oh.
Denied. Rejected. All right, what do you got?
Perhaps.
No.
What if after we finished Umineko, we just took December off and resumed in the next year?
Is Umineko that hard
That's
on you?
probably not going to happen. You could take a
No.
break, but we're probably not taking a break.
We could do back one
Now-
shots.
Yes, keep in mind, because of how long this series is, we're probably going to try out like some shorter memes in between for a bit.
Okay.
Because we need a break. And the next
I feel
long
like
series that we
Umineko
do,
has become such a burden on my life.
listen, it has been 6 months. It's going to be 6 months of Umineko, okay? So much of it. And so we got to take a break with some smaller series meme. And the next longer series we do, it's got to be chill. We got to pick something chill, okay? We got to chill out. Guys, of this.
The champ. Everything's
Yeah, what's up?
depressing.
Not the quintessential quintuplets. We're gonna read.
Is that a short series that's finished?
I didn't say it. I said we're gonna the next long series that we choose. Okay, and also quintuplets is finished. I'll have you know. There's been a winner for ages now. I'll have you know.
Oh, dang.
But you'll
Didn't know.
find out.
My
But you'll find
recommendations for the
He
next
wasn't
vote.
someone that wasn't a quintessential quintuplet.
Oh,
It
wait,
was me.
actually, never mind.
I won. No, quintuplets is like 14 volumes. It's like about as long as
The solution is that the main character
Illustrious.
realized he was gay.
True.
And caused the explosion. Please use.
We always do that. We always do that. All right. Thank you so much, everybody.
With the bang.
True. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming around. Make sure to like, subscribe, all that stuff. We yapped for almost 3.5 hours tonight. So, if you enjoyed that and are ready to join us for our longer yapping sessions with Coast Episode 7, be sure to join us next week. What do we say? Next Saturday, probably. If not, next Sunday. I will be posting a schedule on my Twitter and my Discord, because I post the weekly schedule of the streams or whatever, so I'll let you guys know from that when we are going to be doing the next discussion. So keep an eye out for that, and you can check us out on discord.wolfborg.com is where we have all of our discussions about that stuff, and then you can check out all my stuff at YouTube, Twitch, and kick.wolfborg.com, or just go to wolfborg.com and you'll see all my links to everything. So thank you so much, everybody, and thank you so much to all our guests. We are done with episode 6, Dawn of the Golden Witch. We're moving on to, what's the name of episode 7? It is
Requiem of the Golden Witch.
Requiem. What a fancy name. All right.
Requiems are death marches, basically.
Why, yes.
Oh.
We
You
might
don't-
be
you don't
at a
say.
funeral.
I'm
Whose
always at a
funeral? We'll have to
Not
see.
Kinzo's.
The reader's funeral. You, the reader, are now dead. You were killed
Battler's.
by Beatrice. Battler's funeral. He just got married. He's already dead. Damn.
Yeah.
Happens.
Beatrice is already widowed. Damn.
Bye, stream.
Bye, stream. Bye.
Bye.